Chapter 63, Mountain Beast Fighter. The sky was a dull gray. A full moon shone, scattering faint silvery rays throughout the tranquil forest. From the crystal-clear lake, one could hear the croaking of frogs. Fireflies were dancing throughout the forest. The scene was like a fantasy from a children's fairy tale. This place was the Moonlight Forest, also known as the Land of Eternal Rest by players. The moment Shi Feng arrived at this place, the first thing he did was take out an isolation scroll. Immediately, he activated the magic contained within the scroll. The dazzling magical runes written on the scroll came rushing out, and Shi Feng's body suddenly became blurry. If looking from a far distance, it was very hard to notice Shi Feng's existence. Each isolation scroll cost 40 copper coins. It was practically the entire fortune of an average player. Although the price was high, its effects were remarkable. The isolation scroll could greatly decrease a player's sense of presence, making it hard for surrounding enemies to discover them. The scroll had a duration of half an hour, and it was a must-have tool when exploring dangerous areas. Although it was not as effective as an assassin's stealth, it was better than nothing for jobs that did not possess stealth. When the isolation scroll was used, within a 30-yard radius, players would not be easily discovered by common monsters below level 15. Unless, of course, said player was courting death and attacked the monster. Following which, Shi Feng infiltrated the forest. He headed towards the central region of the Moonlight Forest in search of moonstones, wanting to remove the hateful curse even a little faster. The Moonlight Forest was a level 9 monster area. Its location was not in Star Moon Kingdom, but an isolated space. Every city had a teleportation gate directed towards the Moonlight Forest. In Shi Feng's previous life, over 90% of the level 9 players in God's domain would grind for treasure here. However, even if a player were already level 10, the place would still massacre them. That was because the monsters here usually stayed in groups of 3 to 5, and they possessed powerful skills. A single misstep could cause a party wipe. Even so, players would still persevere, rushing to their deaths over and over as if they were possessed. As a result of the constant deaths, the Moonlight Forest was referred to by others as the Land of Eternal Rest. Meanwhile, the reason these players would persevere to such a degree was mainly that the monsters here dropped gemstones. Moreover, the drop rate was relatively high. The number of treasure chests here was also high. As long as one found a treasure chest, there was an 80% chance to obtain gemstones. Gemstones were very valuable in God's domain. The reason being, they were able to increase the attributes of a piece of equipment. Depending on the color of the gemstones, the attributes they increased were also different. Red increased strength, yellow increased agility, blue increased endurance, purple increased intelligence, and green increased vitality. A Tier 1 gemstone could increase an attribute by 2 points. However, such an amount must not be belittled. A piece of bronze equipment could have 1 gemstone embed into it, whereas a piece of mysterious iron equipment could have 2 gemstones into it. If every piece of equipment worn by a player were outfitted with gemstones, a number of accumulated attributes would be very terrifying. That was why the demand for gemstones was extremely great. The prices of gemstones would always remain high, causing many players to take the great risk of farming gemstones at the Moonlight Forest. Moreover, there were various resources such as ore, herbs, rare food materials, and so on in the Moonlight Forest. However, the most well-known part about the Moonlight Forest was still the 50-man dungeon, the sleeping fortress, that resided there. The dungeon was also the location to exchange card sets. However, only after the dungeon had been cleared by a team, would players of the same area be allowed to enter the dungeon to exchange their card sets. However, Shi Feng's current goal was not the card sets, but the moonstones. The moonstones could only be found in the core area of the Moonlight Forest. Only, Shi Feng could not help but be careful when taking action. Not mentioning the extreme dangers found in the Moonlight Forest, Shi Feng was just level 3 right now, and he was entering a level 9 monster area. If he were to die an accidental death, then the 200,000 EXP he collected would be for naught, and he would have to start collecting it all over again. He had yet to reach level 10, so he could not activate the teleportation gate found in cities. If he were to die, his only choice was to return to Red Leaf Town. If he wished to return to this place, his only choice was to collect the required experience. Currently, Shifeng was far behind the leading experts regarding level. It would be an absolute nightmare if Shifeng were to die once and have to collect another 200,000 EXP. Just after entering the forest, Shifeng could see level 9 shadow leopards hiding either up in the trees or in the bushes, each of them prepared to ambush their foe. If it were not for the isolation scroll, Shifeng would have long since been discovered. Shifeng naturally wasn't an opponent for a level 9 monster, so he could only avoid them. Besides, his goal here was not to kill monsters, and even more so, there was no need for him to pick a fight with the shadow leopards. Shifeng carefully circled the shadow leopards, one after another. After spending more than an hour doing so, he arrived at a wide and towering forest made of stone. In this stone forest existed a group of battle maniacs called mountain beast fighters. They were a group of tenacious warriors that did not fear suffering. The thing they loved most was battling, and the fiercer, the better. At the same time, they were also guarding a large pile of treasure, and amongst the treasure was the rarely seen moonstone. However, the entire stone forest was filled with these armored, gigantic creatures. Wielding a spiked club the height of 2 people, these creatures patrolled the stone forest, preventing anyone from entering. If Shifeng were to set foot in the stone forest, there was a 100% chance for him to be discovered. At that time, a group of those mountain beast fighters would come rushing over, and a swing from each of those spiked clubs would easily turn Shifeng into meat paste. Mountain beast fighter, common rank. Level 9. HP 1100/1100. Looks like I can only clear the way slowly. After searching for half a day, Shifeng still could not find any safe way to penetrate the heart of the forest. His only choice was to kill his way there. Shifeng could not help but admit that the difficulty of an epic quest was indeed very hard. This was just the beginning, yet he was already required to face off against the level 9 mountain beast fighters. He did not know what kinds of challenges he would meet further down the line. Fortunately, he was very familiar with the terrain of the Moonlight Forest. He knew many methods to deal with the beast warriors before him. The mountain beast fighters were abnormally powerful, and their attacks were out of the ordinary. Even shield warriors and guardian knights of an equal level were unable to take more than a few hits from them. However, their bodies were enormous, resulting in their movement speed being relatively slow. In Shifeng's previous life, there were many elementalists who used Frost Arrow to reduce their speed. They then utilized the unique terrain of the stone forest to avoid the attacks from the spiked clubs, kiting and killing the mountain beast fighters. Following which, this stone forest became a holy ground for ranged players. Mountain beast fighters could be seen being kite through various means throughout the stone forest. Although Shifeng did not possess any speed reduction skills, he could use other methods to supplement it. As for kiting the mountain beast fighters, he had the rare skill, Defensive Blade, which could increase his attack range by quite a lot. Shifeng did not believe that a Sword King expert, such as himself, could not beat a level 10 elementalist regarding utilizing the terrain to dodge attacks. After properly observing the terrain, Shifeng ran practice simulations in his mind a total of 5 times. Carrying out mental simulations would have a tremendous effect during actual operation. Hence, every expert would often carry out mental simulations of the operation before actually taking action. The reason why experts were experts was because of the preparations they made were much greater than others. There would often be many average players who would admire the experts in God's domain. They would lament over their own skills being poor, determining that they would never be able to reach the level of these experts. In reality, however, they did not know how great of an effort these experts were putting into each day. The suffering these experts went through each day far exceeded the average player. It was the reason why they could shine brilliantly. After running through the simulations, Shifeng took out a black steel beer and a speed scroll. The black steel beer could reduce a monster's level by 2. In addition to the attributes of the Abyssal Blade, Shifeng would not be suppressed due to the level difference, even when facing a level 9 monster. He would be able to deal damage normally. As for the speed scroll, each one of them cost 25 copper coins. It increased the user's movement speed by 25% for a duration of 10 minutes. This scroll was a life-saving item when out in the wilderness. Shifeng bought a total of 20 of them just for such occasions. If the average player were to learn about this, they would definitely curse Shifeng as a spendthrift. Such an item would only be used when one was in a life or death crisis. Meanwhile, Shifeng used it for killing common monsters. It was just too extravagant. If Shifeng were not cursed, he could easily kite these monsters, just based on his attributes. However, his attributes were now reduced by 50%. The suppression was just too great, so it was safer to use a speed scroll. If Shifeng were to mess things up, it would not just be a matter of losing a level. He would have also wasted 200,000 EXP. Shifeng took a deep breath, relaxing his body as he looked towards the closest mountain beast fighter. Following which, his 2 feet exploded with strength, rushing towards the mountain beast fighter. Chapter 64, Silvermoon Set Equipment. When the distance between Shifeng and the mountain beast fighter was less than 30 yards, the monster discovered Shifeng speeding towards it. It widened its mouth and let out an ear-piercing battle cry. It raised its gigantic spiked club, using a charge and rushing towards Shifeng. Shifeng immediately pulled out the abyssal blade. The blade slashed horizontally as Shifeng used parry. Pung! Shifeng was knocked back by 5 yards, pulling some distance away from the mountain beast fighter without taking any damage. After he landed, he immediately spun around and ran towards the stone forest. If players were hit by the mountain beast fighter's charge, the monster would immediately follow up with a break to reduce the player's speed, preventing them from escaping. In Shifeng's previous life, the elementalists who were struck by the beast fighter's charge would immediately use Frozen Nova to freeze the monster for 8 seconds. They would take the chance to gain some distance, then continue by kiting the monster. The mountain beast fighters would only use charge on the first meeting, using suppressing skills afterward. As long as the elementalists did not let the monsters catch up to them, there would be no danger whatsoever. Also, nearby there were numerous large rocks that could be used to toy with the mountain beast fighters, making the process of killing them a lot easier. After using the speed scroll, Shifeng's speed was faster than the mountain beast fighter just by a thread. It was not very obvious, but it was this small difference that prevented the mountain beast fighter from catching up to him. After entering the densely packed stone forest, Shifeng turned around and used Thundering Flash. From a distance of 15 yards, 3 sword rays immediately pierced through the beast fighter's armor, causing 3 damages of -15, -19, -13. Without the level suppression, even if Shifeng's attributes were reduced by 50%, his attack power and skill damage were still very powerful. After using the skill, Shifeng's speed slightly reduced, and the mountain beast fighter caught up to him within an instant. The beast fighter was clearly furious after being struck. It roared as it brandished its spiked club, smashing it at Shifeng. Shifeng hurriedly turned his body, hiding by a nearby rock. The spiked club did not land on Shifeng, it only hit the stone and created a splash of broken rocks. During this attack, Shifeng, once again, pulled a distance of over 8 yards away from the monster. After using Thundering Flash, Shifeng activated Defensive Blade. His attack range suddenly increased to 15 yards. As long as he maintained a 5-yard distance between the mountain beast fighter, the monster would not be able to land a hit on him. Shifeng brandished his sword as he paid attention to the distance between him and the monster, pulling back to avoid the club whenever he was too close. In such a way, streak after streak of sword light landed on the mountain beast fighter's body. The beast fighter could only bellow in helplessness as its HP continuously fell. It never imagined that a human could actually be so agile and cunning. Every time its attack was about to land, the human would dodge towards a nearby rock. Its bulky spiked club could not land a hit at all. Instead, it only served to create a gap between itself and the human. Just when the mountain beast fighter's HP went below 7%, another mountain beast fighter suddenly appeared from behind a rock. It blocked Shifeng's path, using charge at him. Scram! Faced with the sudden appearance of another monster, Shifeng immediately used Abyssal Bind on it, preventing the monster from moving. At the same time, the Abyssal Bind also cancelled the life-threatening charge. Since the mountain beast fighter had been locked up, Shifeng naturally would not let the skill go to waste. He immediately used Wind Blade, instantly shaking off the low HP mountain beast fighter, and his blade landed on the bound mountain beast fighter's neck. Shifeng continued by using Double Chop, causing a bleeding effect on the monster. He then used another chop on the monster. Just within 3 seconds, Shifeng had taken away 16% of this mountain beast fighter's HP. Seeing as the low HP mountain beast fighter was about to catch up, Shifeng dodged and arrived at behind the restricted beast fighter. He raised the pitch-black abyssal blade high, abruptly slashing down. Thundering flash. Above the heads of both mountain beast fighters, 3 consecutive damages of -16, -19, -23 appeared. The low HP beast warrior fell to the ground with a bang. System, mountain beast fighter killed. Level difference of 6. EXP obtained increased by 600%. Obtained 36 EXP. Such an amount of experience could be considered negligible to Shifeng, who was currently level 3. On the other hand, the proficiency points for using skills were gained much faster. Every use would definitely increase the skill's proficiency by 3 points. This allowed Chop to quickly rise to level 3. In addition to the Abyssal Blade's attributes, Shifeng's Chop was now level 5, its might greatly increasing. Double Chop had also risen to level 2, and if the skill were used through the Abyssal Blade, it would be a level 4 Double Chop. The damage caused by the bleeding effect also increased significantly. The restricted mountain beast fighter bellowed. It finally broke free from the chains, and it wanted to annihilate Shifeng. However, Shifeng gave it no chance. He immediately distanced himself 5 yards away from the monster and continued kiting it. Although the defensive blade had a long cooldown and a short duration, by using Thundering Flash, Double Chop, and Parry in concert, Shifeng could still slowly grind the mountain beast fighter down. Not a minute later, another mountain beast fighter fell. However, the mountain beast fighters did not reward Shifeng with anything special. There were only 3 pieces of hard stone and 2 copper coins. On the other hand, killing these mountain beast fighters was a good way to grind skill proficiency points. Subsequently, Shifeng advanced forward while killing mountain beast fighters. These monsters had a short respawn time, so from time to time, Shifeng would attract 2 to 3 of these mountain beast fighters. Fortunately, the stone forest had narrow spaces. This resulted in the beast fighters blocking each other's path, their numbers causing their speed to reduce instead. Seeing this, Shifeng had sudden inspiration. He started luring more and more mountain beast fighters, and within a short moment, he had lured over 20 of these monsters. The monsters chased after Shifeng as a group, but the narrow pathways of the stone forest prevented them from even stretching their bodies. Just a slight movement and they would run into the other mountain beast fighters. Such a situation allowed Shifeng to become much more relaxed. Shifeng constantly used Thundering Flash and various other skills to burn off the HP of the mountain beast fighters behind him. Shifeng kept luring new mountain beast fighters as he attacked the ones behind him. In such a way, Shifeng's skill proficiency points increased without stop. After 3 hours, Thundering Flash had risen to level 3, Chop had risen to level 5, Double Chop to level 4, Wind Blade to level 3, Defensive Blade to level 2, and Windwalk to level 2. This increase allowed Shifeng to kill monsters with greater ease. With the increase from the Abyssal Blade, the damage from a single Thundering Flash could take away over 90 HP from each mountain beast fighter. A chop could also cause more than 60 points of damage. The bleeding damage caused by Double Chop was also very powerful. However, Shifeng's level remained at 3. He was still quite a distance away from level 4. If it were not for the curse, he would have long since risen in level. Looking at the ground littered with mountain beast fighter corpses, Shifeng decided to take a rest and pick up the loot. Otherwise, all these corpses would become too much of a hindrance. In God's domain, if a player did not pick up the loot, the monster's corpse would require 24 hours before it was removed by the system. The loot from hundreds of mountain beast fighters was extremely shocking. Just from the money dropped, there was already more than 4 silver coins. There was also a lot of materials. As for the moonstones, 7 pieces were dropped. It was still quite a distance away from 30 pieces. Moreover, a few pieces of level 7 to level 10 common equipment also dropped. Isn't this a piece of the Silvermoon set equipment? Shifeng picked up a silvery white helmet from the ground, slightly shocked. Silvermoon helmet, bronze plate armor. Equipment requirement, strength 35. Defense plus 43. Strength plus 5, agility plus 4, endurance plus 4. Battle recovery plus 1. Durability 40/40ths. Limited to berserkers and swordsmen. This helmet was 1 out of 5 pieces of equipment belonging to the Silvermoon set equipment. As long as 2 pieces of the set were collected, the first set effect could be activated. 4 pieces of equipment were required for the second set effect, while all 5 pieces were needed for the third set effect. Each set effect was better than the previous. The Silvermoon set equipment was regarded as one of the best set equipment for berserkers and swordsmen below level 10. However, its drop rate was extremely low, and it was extremely hard to gather a complete set. Unlike other equipment, the Silvermoon set equipment did not possess a level limit. It was only limited by attributes. So long as a player fulfilled the required attributes, they would be able to wear it. Suddenly, Shifeng grew a great interest towards the Silvermoon set equipment. Maybe it was because the map had yet to be populated, so the drop rate right now was so high. If Shifeng were to miss out on this chance, he would definitely regret it in the future. 35 points in strength, to the average player, they would most likely need to reach level 8 or level 9 before they would be able to wear this equipment. However, with Shifeng's attributes, he would be able to wear it as long as he removed the curse and reached level 5. If he were to collect the complete set, his attributes would literally soar to the sky. At that time, killing a level 5 shield warrior with a full body of bronze equipment would just be child's play. Just the thought of it excited Shifeng. Chapter 65, Mysterious Iron Treasure Chest. Shifeng stored the Silvermoon helmet and continued moving deeper into the stone forest, searching for even more mountain beast fighters. Before, Shifeng's attention was solely focused on moonstones and the horror of the Moonlight Forest. He had completely forgotten that the Moonlight Forest was an unexplored map. The treasures here were bountiful beyond comparison. It was just that, in Shifeng's previous life, when he arrived at the Moonlight Forest, the place had long since been ransacked by those experts of first-rate and second-rate guilds, leaving only scraps behind. Even then, Shifeng still had to compete with the other guilds for them. As for the average players, they didn't even have the chance to obtain those second-hand goods. By the time the average players arrived, who knew how many times the Moonlight Forest had been ransacked? However, these players still treated this place as a treasured land. One could imagine just how attractive the untouched Moonlight Forest was. Now that he was here, a step ahead, those first-rate and second-rate guilds would not have their turn. He would personally explore every corner of the Moonlight Forest and plunder everything, letting those guilds have a taste of getting second-hand goods. 2 hours later, Shifeng finally arrived at the core of the stone forest. On his way here, Shifeng continuously killed mountain beast fighters, obtaining 3 more pieces of moonstone and a lot of money and materials. By chance, Shifeng had discovered a camp made by the mountain beast fighters. The camp was guarded by mountain beast fighters on all sides, and just a rough calculation told Shifeng that there were over 40 of these monsters. Moreover, there were several squads of mountain beast fighters patrolling near the camp. All in all, their numbers totaled past 100. The mountain beast fighters' camp was where they stored their treasures. Many guilds would often send teams consisting of 20 elite players to do a sweep on the various monster camps in the Moonlight Forest. Their harvests, every time they did so, were relatively good. Meanwhile, the mountain beast fighter camp in front of Shifeng had never been raided before. There was definitely a great treasure in there. Shifeng might even be able to finish collecting the required moonstone and obtain many tier 1 gemstones and equipment. However, every monster camp was not easy to deal with. If there were not a lot of rocks here, Shifeng would not have paid any attention to the camp and would have most likely turned around and left already. But the rocks here were much more concentrated. The pathways surrounding the camp could, at most, fit 2 beast fighters, while the narrower places could only fit 1. It was definitely a good location to grind mountain beast fighters. It would be a great pity if Shifeng were to give up here. Hence, Shifeng picked a few small pieces of stone from the ground and stealthily closed in on the monster camp. To prevent unexpected elements, Shifeng decided to lure all the mountain beast fighters in one go. Otherwise, if he were to meet up with another group of mountain beast fighters during his kiting, he would definitely drop dead. The important factor when luring these mountain beast fighters was finding a way to deal with their charge. If that were not properly handled, Shifeng would end up dead from the unlimited charges. He had personally been met with such a scenario before. His strength at that time had clearly exceeded the monsters by a large leap, yet, the monsters charged at him one after another, placing him in a fainted state until he died. Although each mountain beast fighter only used charge once, hundreds of those monsters still meant hundreds of charges. Trying to get them to charge all at the same time was extremely difficult. With his current HP, Shifeng would not last 2 hits under the mountain beast fighter's assault. Hence, he absolutely cannot make a mistake. He needed to let all the mountain beast fighters simultaneously use charge at him, then avoid the follow-up damage. Only then would he have a chance to get rid of all these mountain beast fighters. He needed to get a good grasp on the timing when all the mountain beast fighters rushed over. Otherwise, instead of grinding monsters, he would be the one beaten to a pulp. However, Shifeng still held confidence in himself. After all, he was once a sword king and a first-rate expert. The mountain beast fighter on guard used its furry hand to caress its beloved Nuedo. It stood up high on the wall, its blood-red eyes were constantly surveying its surroundings. As long as it discovered an intruder, it would immediately charge over and let its blade enjoy a delicious meal. Suddenly, a stone flew towards the mountain beast fighter, striking its head. When the beast fighter turned its head towards the direction the stone came from, it discovered a human a distance away. There was also a piece of stone in the human's hand. Then, the beast fighter caressed its head that had been struck, suddenly entering a burning rage. A mere ant dared to throw a stone at it? Ho! 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 The roar from the mountain beast fighter alarmed the entire nest of monsters. Mountain beast fighters came rushing out of the camp, one after another, all of them rushing to kill Shifeng. Meanwhile, Shifeng continued throwing stones towards the other squads of mountain beast fighters. In just a short moment, he had enraged all of those monsters, causing them to rush at him. Seeing over 100 mountain beast fighters running towards him, Shifeng remained unhurried. He used Phantom Kill, allowing his doppelganger to run into the stone forest while he faced off with the monsters. Not to mention Shifeng alone, even a 20-man elite team would not be able to handle over 100 mountain beast fighters at the same time. As the distance between Shifeng and the mountain beast fighters shortened, Shifeng's heart madly beat. His actions this time were insane. If there were even the tiniest mistake, only death awaited him. It had been a very long time since he had done something so exciting. His blood boiled, and his 5 senses grew even more sensitive. When the mountain beast fighters were no more than 30 yards from Shifeng, a majority of the beasts were within the range to use charge. After a wrathful roar, a large majority of the mountain beast fighters simultaneously activated charge, with a few using it a moment later. Shifeng immediately activated Defensive Blade. The skill could block 3 melee attacks. At the same time, Shifeng gripped the abyssal blade and prepared to use parry. When the first wave of monsters arrived, although Shifeng used parry, his body was still sent flying back. Following which, the second wave of monsters arrived, knocking Shifeng into a fainted state, preventing him from moving. Seeing many mountain beast fighters raise their Nuedo, ready to strike, Shifeng persevered and did not use any skills. Even when the blades slashed at him, Shifeng still did not use the position-swapping function of Phantom Kill. The defensive blade's damage immunity to 3 melee attacks instantly vanished. Afterward, Shifeng was struck by the large blade, his HP instantly fell by half. Another strike was all it would take to finish him off now. At this time, the third wave of monsters had finally arrived. Shifeng once more entered a fainted state, the blade of the second Nuedo just before his eyes. Substitute. Shifeng shouted in his mind. Within an instant, Shifeng and the doppelganger in the stone forest swapped places. After the blade slashed the doppelganger, the charge of the fourth and final wave of monsters arrived. The doppelganger was simply beaten to death. Meanwhile, Shifeng, who was hiding in the stone forest, immediately took out a bottle of basic regeneration potion. He gulped it down in one go, a sweet and sour taste permeating throughout his mouth. Shifeng's HP immediately recovered by 180 points, allowing him to barely be able to receive another attack. After the doppelganger died, the hatred of the mountain beast fighters was directed toward Shifeng, who was currently in the stone forest. Immediately, they swarmed into the forest. Inside the forest was naturally Shifeng's realm. He activated a speed scroll, facing off against the crazed mountain beast fighters who were crowding through the narrow path. Shifeng used Thundering Flash. 3 streaks of lightning passed through the monsters, instantly taking over 100 HP from each of them. Within 10 minutes, all the lured mountain beast fighters were dead. At the same time, the remaining thread of experience Shifeng needed to reach level 4 had been filled up. He finally reached level 4, catching up to the second-tier players. Shifeng placed all 6 attribute points into strength. Currently, damage was his priority. After cleaning up the loot, Shifeng actually obtained another piece of the Silvermoon set equipment, a Silvermoon leg guard. He had also obtained 7 pieces of moonstone, 2 tier 1 gemstones, and all sorts of materials and common equipment. His harvest was relatively good. However, the most bountiful treasure was not these items. The main focus remained within the camp storehouse. After all, mountain beast fighters love to place their collected treasures in the camp storehouse. After cleaning up the drops, Shifeng quickly ran into the camp. He wanted to see just what sort of treasure was awaiting him inside the storehouse. As expected for the first time, there really is a lot of treasure. From afar, Shifeng could already see a few large treasure chests placed inside the storehouse. Amongst them, there was even a pitch-black mysterious iron treasure chest. Filled with excitement, Shifeng was just about to enter the storehouse and take a look at the items within the treasure chests when he heard a loud roar. Ao! 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 A mountain beast fighter, who was 3 sizes larger than its peers, rushed out from within the storehouse. The monster was covered in silver armor, and both its hands wielded a gigantic axe. Both its blood-red eyes stared tenaciously at Shifeng. Chapter 66, Phantom Kill. After this silver-armored mountain beast fighter rushed out, before Shifeng could observe it, it had already thrown its incomparably heavy mountain-splitting axe. The axe flew like a rocket, reaching Shifeng in an instant. Everything happened too quickly, too suddenly. If it were an average player in this situation, their head would have parted with their body before they could even react. However, Shifeng was not an average player. He pulled out the abyssal blade with great speed, and the moment before the axe could hack at his neck, he parried this flying death axe. The collision between the giant axe and the long sword did not produce any sparks, only the sound of an explosion. Shifeng's entire person was sent flying back over 10 yards. Following which, the giant axe landed on the ground, deeply penetrating the earth. Its landing caused the earth to start shaking. It could be seen just how heavy this giant axe was. Moreover, the silver-armored mountain beast fighter who could simply throw this giant axe was even more terrifying. Such strength did not exceed the normal mountain beast fighters by just a level. After landing, Shi Feng immediately used observing eyes on the new monster. Mountain Beast Warrior, Special Elite. Level 10. HP 3500/3500. Shi Feng immediately understood the Mountain Beast Warrior's strength after taking a look at these numbers. Without saying anything further, he turned tail and ran. What a joke. Directly battling against a level 10 special elite was literally suicide. When meeting a special elite in the Moonlight Forest, players didn't have to consider whether or not they could kill it, rather whether or not they could run away. The Mountain Beast Warrior was stronger than the Mountain Beast Fighter by more than a notch. Not only regarding strength, but its speed and flexibility were also greatly increased. It would not be easily toyed with like the Mountain Beast Fighters. If Shi Feng did not use parry to defend against the axe, then, even if he had blocked the attack with the abyssal blade, he would still end up dead. The gap between their strength was just too huge. Although Shi Feng wished to escape, the Mountain Beast Warrior had no plans let this intruder go. It used charge to rush at Shi Feng, picking up its giant axe along the way. The way it picked up the weapon was as if it were picking up a leaf, effortless. Seeing that the Mountain Beast Warrior had used charge, Shi Feng knew he could not shake it off. He turned his body around in mid-air, pointing his sword at the Mountain Beast Warrior. Abyssal Bind. Within an instant, the Mountain Beast Warrior who was swiftly rushing at Shi Feng was restricted by pitch-black chains. It could not move even a muscle, only helplessly stare at Shi Feng. Shi Feng did not dare stay any longer. He activated Windwalk, leaving the campsite at high speed and fleeing into the stone forest. With the added speed from Windwalk, the Mountain Beast Warrior had no chance of catching up to him. About 20 seconds later, finally broke away from it. Shi Feng turned his head around to take a look, discovering the Mountain Beast Warrior already turning around and heading back to its camp. Thereupon, Shi Feng let out a breath of relief. If it had continued chasing, Shi Feng's Windwalk would have timed out. His luck was truly rotten. There was actually a special elite inside the campsite. In his previous life, there were no monster camps that were guarded by a special elite. There would only be the occasional normal elite monster. Shi Feng felt unfortunate for losing the mysterious iron treasure chest. Currently, Blackie's communication arrived. Brother Feng, all of our members have reached level 4. Moreover, we obtained a lot of ore, equipment, and skill books. Everyone has learned quite a few skills, and our strength has greatly increased. Unfortunately, our leveling speed from grinding gnomes has greatly decreased. When will you be coming over to carry us through the hell mode of the Deathly Forest? Our fighting spirits are all sky high right now, and we're just waiting for your command, Blackie laughingly said. All of you are level 4? Shi Feng entered a deep thought, trying to think of the next task for Blackie and the others to do. After some thought, Shi Feng thought of a good location. Blackie, you guys should stop grinding gnomes and return to town to tidy up your bags. Go to the level 5 area, the Red Leaf Forest. Follow this marker and grind forest wolves. The wolf meat and wolf skins are good stuff. The more you grind, the better, as all the drops can be sold, fattening your wallets. With Blackie and the others' current potential, it would be very easy to grind forest wolves. This was especially true with Blackie's equipment. The monster's 400 HP would be gone with just 3 dark arrows. Moreover, the location Shi Feng gave to Blackie was a large wolf denver. The respawn rate there was very quick, and there was also higher ground for Blackie and the others to occupy. As long as Cola and Lonely Snow firmly blocked the pathway up the slope, preventing even a single wolf from moving past them, the ranged members could easily deal damage. Moreover, beasts were afraid of fire, taking additional damage from it. A single hell flame could wipe out the entire pack of wolves. Their leveling speed would increase by at least 60% to 70%. Great. We're bored out of our minds from constantly grinding gnomes. We'll go immediately after we tidy up our bags, Blackie excitedly confirmed. More and more players started going to their location to grind gnomes now. In addition to them being level 4, their leveling efficiency was constantly decreasing. They were naturally excited to have a new location to grind. Brothers, pack up. We won't have to compete with them anymore. Let's go play in a new location, Blackie said to the others after cutting off the call. Everyone stopped fighting over monsters with the other players when they heard Blackie say so. They cheerfully left this place with Blackie. When the elite parties saw Blackie and the others leaving, their faces revealed expressions of joy. There would be fewer people competing over this precious leveling ground now. They inwardly sneered at the foolishness of Blackie's party. Currently, players filled the entirety of Dark Moon Valley. How could the leveling speed at the other locations be faster than here? Elsewhere, just when Shifeng was ready to look for other mountain beast fighters, he noticed a problem from the conversation with Blackie. It was definitely not possible for him to kill the mountain beast warrior by himself, but he could still escape. However, it was not necessary for him to kill the mountain beast warrior to obtain the mysterious iron treasure chest. As long as one person lured the mountain beast warrior, another person could go and open the treasure chest. Thinking up to this point, Shifeng looked at the abyssal blade with a faint smile. As expected, Phantom Kill was a very powerful skill. Following which, Shifeng once more returned to the mountain beast camp. He activated Phantom Kill, his doppelganger appearing before him. The doppelganger possessed all of Shifeng's skills. It was sufficient to hold off the mountain beast warrior for more than 20 seconds. With these 20 seconds, Shifeng could activate the treasure chest and take away all the items. Shifeng took out a speed scroll and polymorph scroll, giving them to the doppelganger. The polymorph scroll could polymorph monsters below level 15 into a sheep for 4 seconds. However, the effective duration on a special elite would be greatly decreased. Although, it was enough as long as it could disrupt the mountain beast warrior's charge. After activating the speed scroll, the doppelganger immediately went to the storehouse to lure the mountain beast warrior. As expected, the scene from before replayed itself, and the doppelganger used parry to block the flying death axe. It subsequently used charge at the doppelganger. The doppelganger immediately used the polymorph scroll, instantly turning the mountain beast warrior into a little white sheep. The mountain beast warrior reverted to its original form in less than a second. It then chased after the doppelganger, entering deep into the stone forest. The mountain beast warrior's speed was slightly faster than the doppelganger, but the doppelganger activated Windwalk, its speed and the distance between them increasing once more. A short distance away, Shifeng watched as the mountain beast warrior departed from the campsite. He let out a small chuckle, similarly activating Windwalk as he rushed into the storehouse. This time, there were no monsters present to interrupt him when he entered the storehouse. Shifeng first went up to the mysterious iron treasure chest, opening it. The treasure chest needed time to be opened. 1 second. 2 seconds. The loading bar for the treasure chest was still going, causing Shifeng to become slightly nervous. The time his doppelganger could delay was limited. Aside from the mysterious iron treasure chest, there was still one more bronze treasure chest and 3 common treasure chests. Time was of the essence. As long as he opened a treasure chest now, it would not be possible to lure the tiger out of the mountain the next time around. After all, special elites possessed their own intelligence. Hurry, hurry, Shifeng impatiently looked at the loading bar. 10 seconds later, the mysterious iron treasure chest opened. At the same time, a wrathful roar came from the stone forest. It would seem that Shifeng's actions had been discovered. Looking through the doppelganger's vision, Shifeng could see that the mountain beast warrior no longer paid the doppelganger any attention. Instead, it ran back towards the camp storehouse. Without pause, Shifeng immediately stored all the items in the treasure chest into his bag. He then continued to open the bronze chest. The bronze treasure chest's loading bar started to move slowly. To Shifeng, every second right now was crawling by. Meanwhile, the sound of the mountain beast warrior's bellow was getting closer and closer. Chapter 67, Ring of Nothingness. The loading bar for the treasure chest was currently only halfway done. Hearing the roar getting closer and closer, Shifeng became extremely anxious. Hurry! Hurry! The mountain beast warrior had already entered the camp, yet the loading bar was still a hair's breadth away from full. When the mountain beast warrior saw Shifeng opening the treasure chest, its large pair of eyes turned crimson red. It aimed its giant axe at Shifeng, throwing it at him. It could not help but wish for Shifeng to go to hell immediately. At this moment, the bronze treasure chest opened. Without giving the flying axe even a single glance, Shifeng immediately activated Defensive Blade, blocking the attack from the flying death axe. Following which, his two hands swiftly stretched into the treasure chest, taking the items within and cramping them into his bag with lightning speed. When Shifeng finished storing all of the items from the treasure chest, the mountain beast warrior also arrived before him. It picked up the fallen axe with both of its hands, raising it up high as it prepared to murder. Having no plans to stay, Shifeng turned and ran. Boom! The earth split when the axe landed, leaving behind a scar and causing crushed stones to go flying. However, Shifeng was already 5 yards away by the time the axe landed. He was running directly to the outside of the camp. Seeing that its attack missed, the mountain beast warrior turned to face Shifeng and used charge. It did not intend to give Shifeng any chance to escape. On the other hand, Shifeng did not have any skills to deal with the mountain beast warrior who was charging at him. He allowed the mountain beast warrior to send him into a fainted state, his body then receiving a slash from its axe. In an instant, the attack sent him flying over 10 yards away. The attack from the mountain beast warrior could cause even a level 5 shield warrior to harbor a grudge, yet Shifeng acted as if it was nobody's business as he stood and started running out of the camp once more. Now, Defensive Blade could only prevent Shifeng from receiving damage from a melee attack one more time. Although only one chance remained, there was more than a 10-yard distance between Shifeng and the mountain beast warrior. As long as Shifeng ran into the stone forest, he would be a lot safer. However, an unexpected situation occurred. The mountain beast warrior that should have used charge only once used it a second time, sending Shifeng into a fainted state once more. It raised its giant axe, slashing it again at Shifeng's body. Shifeng was sent flying for over 10 yards again. This time it immediately threw him out of the camp. He was just a short distance away from the stone forest now. However, Shifeng's expression became much more serious. The current mountain beast warrior was completely different from before. Previously, it only used charge once. Now, it used charge twice. That meant that there was a possibility for a third or fourth charge, maybe even more. That meant, as long as the distance between Shifeng and the mountain beast warrior exceeded 8 yards, the mountain beast warrior would use charge. This was definitely not good news. Just as expected, the moment Shifeng stepped out of the 8-yard range, the mountain beast warrior used charge once again. If Shifeng were to be hit once more, he would definitely die. He was not willing to die just yet. Shifeng took out a polymorph scroll, immediately turning the mountain beast warrior that was charging at him into a sheep. Although it was polymorphed only for a second, just 1 second was enough for Shifeng to run a long distance away. As long as Shifeng could run out of the 30-yard range, it would be too far for the mountain beast warrior to use charge. Just after running 15 yards away, the mountain beast warrior recovered. Shifeng immediately spun around and cast Abyssal Bind. He then activated Gravity Liberation, his speed soaring greatly. The 3 seconds binding this time allowed Shifeng to easily run past the 30-yard range, entering the stone forest. Currently, some of the mountain beast fighters in the stone forest had already respawned, and by coincidence, one of them was blocking the path ahead of Shifeng. Being struck by inspiration, Shifeng quickly took the initiative. Wind Blade. Before the mountain beast fighter could react, Shifeng rushed to its front and brushed past it. Feng then took out another polymorph scroll, turning the mountain beast fighter into a sheep. With the speed increase from Wind Blade, Feng easily shook off the mountain beast warrior that was stubbornly chasing after him, escaping it quickly. After finding a safe location, Feng sat down to rest as he slowly looked through the items in his bag. Feng went from clueless to shocked. He had to admit that ransacking the camp was extremely profitable. Just this one time was enough to make up for his hours of hard work. He instantly collected all of the moonstone he needed, completing his quest. The next thing he needed to do was to leave the Moonlight Forest and dispel the curse. Amongst these treasures, aside from the large amount of moonstone, there were also 7 Tier 1 gemstones, 3 pieces of bronze equipment, and a single bronze-colored mysterious iron ring. Amongst the 3 pieces of bronze equipment, there was a Silvermoon arm guard. With it, Feng now had 3 out of 5 pieces of the Silvermoon set equipment. As long as he put in more effort, he might be able to truly collect a complete set. However, Feng did not have that much time. The earlier he removed the curse, the earlier he could regain his strength and level up quickly. He still had too many things to do, and he could not do any of them without levels. Aside from the Silvermoon arm guard attracting Feng's attention, the mysterious iron ring also gave him tremendous joy. Ring of Nothingness, mysterious iron ranked ring. Equipment requirement, Intelligence 10. Strength +1, Agility +1, Intelligence +2. Additional ability, Shadow of Nothingness, allows the user to enter a state of nothingness. The user will not be able to see other players, while other players will not be able to see the user. Duration of 1 minute. Cooldown, 5 minutes. Only usable in a non-combative state. Rings such as this, which possessed an additional ability, were extremely rare. It was as rare as the Ring of Gravity, possessing many uses. In his previous life, Feng had done a lot of research on the Moonlight Forest. Including the information found on the internet, he knew the spawn locations of many treasure chests. Originally, he planned to only go to a few locations that were easy to obtain treasure chests before leaving the Moonlight Forest. Now that he had the Ring of Nothingness, his train of thought widened, and the number of treasure chests that he could obtain greatly increased. The Moonlight Forest was still a virgin land, and treasures could be found everywhere. It was especially true for treasure chests that had been opened for the first time. The items inside were the best. Since he could easily obtain these treasures, would it matter if he wasted a little more time? Following which, Feng put on the Ring of Nothingness. He then opened the map for the Moonlight Forest, confirming his current position. There was a bronze treasure chest not far from his location. So, he kept the map and advanced towards the treasure chest. After walking for over 10 minutes, he arrived at ruins of a shrine. The ruins were surrounded by barbaric beast men who were guarding it, with several elite beast men in the midst as well. Meanwhile, the treasure chest was located inside the collapsed shrine. However, without a team of 20 elite players, it was impossible to clear off all the barbaric beast men. Although he could not beat the barbaric beast men, Feng had other methods to get to the treasure chest. Feng immediately called out his doppelganger, allowing it to move to a distance away and find a safe location. Meanwhile, Feng himself moved closer to the temple. While staying outside the detection range of the barbaric beastmen, Feng activated Shadow of Nothingness and entered a state of nothingness. He then ran towards the inside of the shrine with high speed. After entering a state of nothingness, Feng could no longer see those barbaric beastmen, and the same went for the barbaric beastmen who could no longer see Feng. In such a way, Feng soundlessly entered the heavily guarded shrine. There were still several barbaric beastmen guarding inside the shrine. They were less than 20 yards away from the bronze treasure chest. Meanwhile, Feng unhurriedly opened the treasure chest. When opening the treasure chest, Feng's state of nothingness did not fade, so the channeling process finished without a hitch. However, the moment the treasure chest was opened, just after Feng's hand stretched into it, his state of nothingness vanished. Within an instant, the 5 barbaric beast men inside the temple noticed Feng. Suddenly entering a rage, they waved their stone hammers as they rushed towards him. Shifeng activated Defensive Blade without hurry, storing the items in the treasure chest in his bag. Before the barbaric beast men could break off the 3 layers of protection, Shifeng had taken all the items from the treasure chest. He then swapped places with his doppelganger, his original body arriving at a very safe location. Shifeng leisurely departed from the ruins, heading towards the location of the next treasure chest. Moonlight Forest was very large. With unyielding perseverance, Shifeng spent more than 10 hours before finally clearing the entirety of the Moonlight Forest. He harvested a total of 3 mysterious iron treasure chests, 22 bronze treasure chests, and 56 common treasure chests. His harvest was extremely invigorating. His entire bag was clogged full, and he was even forced to throw away several pieces of common equipment that had poor attributes. When he was arranging all these items, a beeping noise came from the system. Shifeng looked at the notification, seeing that it was the alarm that he previously set. It notified him that morning had arrived, and he needed to log off and rest. In consideration of his body, Shifeng looked for a safe location before logging off. Chapter 68, Big Harvest. Early morning, a layer of fog still covered the outer layer of the window. Dark clouds densely covered the sky outside, and there were signs of rain falling soon. The air quality here is getting worse by the day. After I earn enough money, I definitely have to move out of this broken district and move to a better house in the city. After sitting up, Shifeng took a look out his window. Following which, he flexed his body and got down from his bed. He then went through 20 sets of workout motions before going to his cramped bathroom to wash up. Shifeng grabbed his phone from the table once he finished tidying himself up. He started by checking the remaining money in his bank account. Constantly eating instant noodles was bad for his body. Moreover, the nutrients provided were definitely not enough to supplement his method of training. He had obtained the membership card and coupons for Big Dipper after much difficulty, yet, he discovered that he still needed to wait for 5 days before he could use them. This caused him to be slightly depressed. Now, his only hope was on the sales of the god's domain game currency. Previously, Shifeng had registered 3 gold coins at the virtual trade center. If there were someone who bought them, then the credits earned would automatically be sent to his bank account. However, the trade center had a 3-hour transaction delay. Moreover, Shifeng did not turn on the notifications for his trade account. So, even if the transaction had already been done, he did not know how much had been transferred to his account. He could only use his old modeled phone to check his bank account. Shifeng currently did not possess the money to purchase the latest quantum watch. Otherwise, a lot of matters could be easily resolved using the quantum watch. Even credit card payments could be done through the quantum watch. Moreover, all shops that sold items supported payment using the quantum watch, as it was both safe and fast. In a short moment, Shifeng logged into his bank account using his handphone, checking the amount of money he had remaining. If there were enough credits, he would go and have a good meal. The last time he remembered having meat was when he was still in his 3rd year of university. Now, he was in his 4th year and would be graduating soon. Previously, he had retrieved all of his money from his bank account to buy instant noodles. His current balance should not be more than 1 credit. After selling for an entire night, there should be some people who would purchase some of his game currency. It was especially true for the guilds in White River City. Shifeng did not believe those guilds could amass funds that quickly. Even if they were to sign a contract with money farming teams or have their money farming teams, it was absolutely impossible for them to purchase that much equipment in such a short period. More or less, they should have purchased some game currency. They actually bought quite a lot. I guess I won't have to fuss over food for a few days. Shifeng smiled slightly when he saw that there were over 1,700 credits in his bank account. However, the trade tax was truly high. He sold a total of 30 silver coins which were worth 1,800 credits, but 100 of those credits went to taxes. The amount was truly sinister. In any case, Shi Feng now had some money, and it was double the amount of living expenses he would have each month. It was enough for him to eat properly for quite some time. If all 3 gold coins sold, then that would amount to 18,000 credits. Shi Feng would then have the money to buy 2 virtual gaming helmets. The only worry he had right now was whether or not all 3 gold coins would sell. After some consideration, Shi Feng decided that he definitely must make these guilds and players spend more money during this period. Otherwise, if they were to make business deals in the game, they would easily be able to solve their problem with money. At that time, they would not have to purchase game currency from the virtual trade center. Subsequently, Shi Feng left his rented apartment. He made a trip to the bank, withdrawing all of his money. Now that he had some money, Shi Feng went to the nutrition center and bought 3 bottles of C-rank nutrient fluids. They were enough to last him for up to 9 days. When the beautiful saleswoman saw that Shi Feng had bought 3 bottles without even blinking, she could not help but have delightful thoughts. Taking the initiative, she asked, "Are you free this afternoon, handsome? How about we go to Yulan Square to have a drink?" My treat. Yulan Square was a nearby well-known romantic location, and many youths, both males and females, loved going there. Looking at the beautiful saleswoman's graceful body and lust-filled eyes, she was much better than the gorgeously dressed girls in his class. However, Shi Feng only gave her a calm smile. How could he not know what her thoughts were? He tactfully rejected her and turned around to leave. Shi Feng's reaction caused the beautiful saleswoman to feel slightly unfortunate. A large catch had run away just like that. Was she not beautiful? Was her body lacking? Nutrient fluids were the pinnacle products of the new age. Not only could they slow down aging, but they could also discreetly mend the injuries that could not be detected, regenerate body cells, develop the brain cells, and many more astonishing impacts. These items have already become must-haves for athletes and martial artists. However, they were very expensive, so the common folk could only occasionally buy a bottle to drink. After all, a month's salary was only so much. It was impossible for them to afford a bottle every 3 days. Only the wealthy were able to treat these nutrient fluids as drinks, constantly transforming their bodies. Hundreds of years ago, very rarely would the children of wealthy families be ugly. Females would normally be beauties, while males would normally be handsome men. However, with the nutrient fluids in this current age, beautiful women and handsome men could be commonly seen throughout the streets. A bottle of C-rank nutrient fluid cost 400 credits. A bottle of B-rank nutrient fluid cost 1,000 credits. A bottle of A-rank nutrient fluid cost 10,000 credits. As for the best S-rank nutrient fluids, those were items that could not be bought by common folk even if they wanted to. These nutrient fluids were only sold to the inner circles of society. In his previous life, Shi Feng was fortunate enough to buy one because of his status as a core member of Shadow. The S-rank nutrient fluid was extremely expensive, costing 1,000,000 credits per bottle. However, its effects were similarly astonishing. A-rank nutrient fluids were far from being comparable to it. Although S-rank nutrient fluids were very expensive, there were plenty of wealthy people in the world. The ones who could afford to buy it would not trouble themselves over such an amount of money. After all, who wouldn't want to trade money for their own youth? It was truly hard to imagine. The dream of humanity hundreds of years ago had now become a reality. The body was a needed asset to make a revolution. If Shi Feng wanted to improve his skills in God's domain and stand at the very top of the game, then a strong body and nimble mind were indispensable. Hence, Shi Feng would not make the same mistake in this aspect as he did in his previous life. Following which, Shi Feng went to a gourmet restaurant. He spent 100 credits purchasing 2 sets of nutrient set meals. One was for him to eat right now and another as takeaway for his lunch. After eating, Shi Feng made a trip to a normal workout center. After spending 60 credits, he trained for 4 hours before returning home. In the evening, around 7 p.m., Shi Feng drank a bottle of nutrient fluid and laid on the bed. He activated the gaming helmet and connected to God's domain. After logging in, Shifeng started arranging the items he obtained. When he was done arranging the items, Shifeng started feeling emotional. It was no wonder the Moonlight Forest was a land of treasures. Just the various Tier 1 gemstones he obtained alone amounted to over 300 pieces. There were also tens of skill books, dozens of pieces of bronze equipment, 5 pieces of mysterious iron equipment, over 50 card sets, more than 20 recipes for lifestyle jobs, over 30 Tier 1 magic scrolls, and 4 Tier 2 magic scrolls. The magic scrolls from treasure chests were much better than those sold in the magic shop. This was because the various scrolls in the magic shop did not even reach the standard of Tier 1. Meanwhile, Tier 2 magic scrolls were much more precious. Every piece would have a great purpose, and there would be nobody willing to sell it. As for the thing that brought Shifeng the most joy, he finished collecting the Silvermoon set equipment. In addition, he also collected a complete set of Black Blood set equipment meant for Shield Warriors and Guardian Knights. The Black Blood set equipment's value far exceeded that of the Silvermoon set equipment. It was one of the best set equipment for Shield Warriors and Guardian Knights that were below level 10. If Kola were to equip this set at level 6 or level 7, then Hell Mode dungeons below level 10 would no longer be a problem. With so many good items, Shifeng already had a solid base for forming a 20-man team. The only concerns remaining would be recruiting members and their skills. After finished arranging his bag and confirming that there were no more profits to be gained from the Moonlight Forest, Shifeng activated the teleportation magic orb, leaving the Moonlight Forest. Chapter 69, Lunatic. In the real world, the sky slowly darkened as the sun went under the mountain. On the other hand, players in God's domain were welcoming the rise of the morning sun. Red Leaf Town was currently brightly lit as if it were daytime. In the trade area, players could be found everywhere as they pushed their way through the streets. Compared to yesterday, there were a lot more players currently in Red Leaf Town, and a lot of them were new players who were level 0. After being officially active for 2 days, many people started to notice the difference between God's domain and other virtual reality games. The battling alone was extremely attractive, not to mention other sources of entertainment. The monsters in God's domain improved with the increase in levels, making the battles seem increasingly real. It was no longer the usual simple bouts where players and monsters would take turns fighting each other. The battles in God's domain were more similar to the fighting competitions in real life. This was the age where the world's entire population would exercise. In the real world, people had already reached a level of obsession in regards to fighting competitions, making such competitions extremely popular. Everyone wished for a battle in which they could fight to their heart's content, and even more so when exchanging blows with an expert. They wanted to chase after the intense feeling of excitement that made one's blood boil. It was an addicting feeling that was impossible to give up. Meanwhile, God's domain had all of this, and there were no dangers to a person's life. Moreover, God's domain contained great adventures that were both fascinating and thrilling. There were also countless unknowns waiting to be discovered and explored. Time in the game was also double that of real life. Many players wished they could stay inside God's domain for the rest of their lives, living their second life within the game. It was also because of this reason that many players were attracted to God's domain. Many virtual gaming companies, after seeing this irreversible situation, declared bankruptcy, one after another, as they prepared to invest in God's domain. Such a situation also caused some unwilling veteran gamers to enter God's domain, greatly increasing the number of players. Just after returning to Red Leaf Town, Shifeng received a bunch of system notifications. Almost all of them were sales notifications from the auction house. Within an instant, the money Shifeng possessed increased to over 500 silver coins or 5 gold coins. Shifeng still remembered having recently registering 3 gold coins at the virtual trade center. After less than a day's worth of effort, he now possessed an additional 5 gold coins. Those guilds obtained all this money after much difficulty, yet, they all contributed to him in the end. Currently, there might not be another player in White River City who was wealthier than he was. The guild leaders of first-rate guilds were no exception. However, this was only the tip of the iceberg. The real money-making moment was just starting. Shifeng first stored all the items that were in his bag into his warehouse. He was not planning on selling them but instead, kept them for future use. After all, items such as gemstones and skill books were hard currencies, their prices would never depreciate. On the contrary, it was equipment that would depreciate along with the increase in player levels. Soon afterward, Shifeng started doing his old business again. Nighttime was the best period for doing business. Seeing that the sun was soon to rise, Shifeng set aside his quest for now and set up a street stall, purchasing stones, magic essences, hard stones, and card sets. Due to previous similar occurrences, many players would deliberately stay here and await Shifeng's arrival. Now, just a casual shout from Shifeng was enough to cause a crowd of players to come running towards him. In such a way, Shifeng bought materials while listening to the conversations of players nearby. The Assassin's Alliance has obtained great glory this time. They completed the insurrection of the Little Fish Men quest and earned a lot of guild reputation. It won't be long before the Assassin's Alliance will become a level 2 guild. What's the big deal? I've heard that a major event occurred in the capital city. The guild leader of a first-rate guild, Star River Federation, completed a major quest and has already become a first-class citizen. Just a little more and he will become part of the nobility. When he obtains the status of a noble, what would a little guild reputation matter? After becoming a noble, he could go to the army camp and city hall to ask for guild quests. Star River Federation could catch up and surpass the Assassin's Alliance at any time. Including the various privileges available to nobles, their accumulated advantage is huge. Just the current Star River Federation was enough to suppress Ouroboros. When the fight for the capital city begins, the city would most likely fall into the hands of the Star River Federation. Those are just small matters. Now, the most popular matter would have to be the showdown between that Black Flame Forger and Hammer Trading. Who doesn't know about that? Right now, there is most likely not a single person in the White River City area that doesn't know of it. However, I never truly imagined that the victor would be so quickly determined. Even further, I never thought that the final winner would be Hammer Trading. Thankfully I was quick-witted and borrowed some money to buy a glimmer chest plate. Many people are currently buying them at high prices. I could easily earn 3 silver coins as long as I resell the one I have. Exactly. Regardless of attributes or design, the glimmer chest plate is way better, so its cost must be extremely high. It only sold for such a low price because of the competition with Hammer Trading. Black Flame must have lost that battle after constantly losing money. Unfortunately, he is not selling even a single piece of the equipment right now. Otherwise, I would definitely borrow money to buy one. Right now, Hammer Trading's fame has exploded. On the forums, he had even started proudly scolding the mysterious forger as incompetent, calling the mysterious forger a son of a bitch for not daring to compete with him. To increase their fame and influence, those first-rate guilds will certainly invite him. Hammer Trading must already be discussing contract terms with them right now. The chief forger of a first-rate guild, people would drool just thinking about such a position. However, we can only look on in envy because we don't have a forging design for bronze equipment. If I had such an item, even if I were to go bankrupt, I would definitely compete with Hammer Trading to the end. When I get the chief position of a first-rate guild, my future will be filled with fame and fortune. When Shifeng heard their conversation, his brows slightly wrinkled. He then called up the official forum. Sure enough, Hammer Trading was ridiculing him with all sorts of insults. Son of a bitch, weren't you so awesome? Why have you turned into a coward? Let's continue competing if you have the ability. See how I'll flatten a blackheart forger like you. Looking at Hammer Trading's inferior shenanigans, Shifeng smiled calmly. He could not help but admire Hammer Trading. To become famous, he turned into a lunatic that was willing to use any means. Just like in Shifeng's previous life, to join world dominators and become their chief forger, Hammer Trading was willing to sell out their entire guild. After he finished purchasing the materials, Shifeng headed towards the auction house. After all the clamor hammer trading made, the glimmer chestplate had thoroughly become famous. Shifeng could now start his next money-making operation. In the current stage of the game, a majority of the average players were already level 3, while many veterans were level 4 and experts were level 5. The average player could not afford a glimmer chestplate, whereas veterans would have to borrow some money to purchase a piece for themselves. As for experts, the usage of the glimmer chestplate was not that great. There was a lot of equipment inside level 5 dungeons that was far better than the glimmer chestplate. That meant that the glimmer chestplate could no longer earn Shifeng a lot of money. After all, the major buyers of the equipment were mostly those guilds. Maybe there were some nouveau riche who could afford to buy one to toy around with, but they were in the extreme minorities amongst the average players. Shifeng walked into the auction house, into the large hall that was packed with people. Without a better option, Shifeng looked for a corner and silently brought up the display screen of the auction house. He then placed 20 copies of the forging design for the glimmer chestplate on auction. The base price for each forging design was set at 30 silver coins, and they would be sold one by one at intervals of half an hour. It was not because Shifeng did not wish to sell them in bulk, but because doing so would result in their price staying low. Only through hunger marketing would he be able to reap the greatest profit. Let those guilds slowly fight amongst themselves. Afterwards, Shifeng cleaned out the accumulated hard stones and card sets from the auction house. He then left the auction house and headed towards the library. Chapter 70, Success or Failure boils down to the same person. Kurik Fields, this was the playground for the level 6 grassland lion cubs. At this stage of the game, there were very few players who would come here to grind and level up. That was because the level here was slightly higher. Moreover, the monsters were numerous and concentrated, making them hard to kill. These grassland lion cubs hunted in groups of 3 to 5. Sometimes, they would even be followed by a fully grown elite grassland lion, making them very hard to deal with. However, there was currently a 6-man party on these fields, fighting a group of lions. A girl dressed in water blue armor brandished her greatsword, directly confronting an elite grassland lion. Not only did she easily evade the grassland lion's sharp claws, she even took the chance to attack and deal damage. Her valiant appearance could captivate even women. This girl was the snow goddess, Gentle Snow. She had already reached level 5, and she wore the level 4 bronze set equipment, Azure Scar. In her hands, she held the mysterious iron-ranked Conqueror's sword. Compared to before, her current strength had greatly increased. Also, there was also a shield warrior who was not any weaker, tanking 4 grassland lion cubs at once. The party's healer, Xiao Yuer, chanted a prayer, her delicate hands tracing divine texts in midair. Xiao Yuer took care of the shield warrior while also healing Gentle Snow, allowing both their HPs to remain above the safety line. The Flame Witch, Zhao Yueru, was also wearing the level 4 Fantasy Flame set equipment. Large fireballs constantly shot out from her hand, causing a frightening amount of damage to appear above the grassland lion's head. Within moments, they massacred the group of elite-led lions. Gentle Snow picked up the loot from the grassland lion, discovering that it was a skill book. No equipment dropped. She then looked towards Xiao Yuer, saying, "Xiao Yuer, it's your sacred light shield, learn it quickly. After some rest, we will continue looking for another grassland lion. We absolutely must get the revival skill." Great! With this skill, healing won't be so intense anymore, Xiao Yuer happily said as she received the skill. Currently resting, Zhao Yueru suddenly asked in a curious tone, "Snow, that hammer trading has already garnered a huge amount of fame. We should at least send a person to recruit him. We can still increase our guild's fame if we're successful. Moreover, his forging skills are not bad. It would be unfortunate if we were to let some other guild snatch him away." No need. It won't be long before level 3 bronze equipment is of little value. He only knows how to forge level 3 bronze equipment and doesn't possess any forging designs for higher level equipment. Why should we spend a large sum of money fighting over him? We would just lose out on earning a little money. Moreover, we don't even know when our guild would be able to obtain a forging design for high-leveled bronze equipment. What would we need him for? Gentle Snow shook her head. She held no particular interests towards a person like Hammer Trading. Instead, she said, on the contrary, I'm more interested in the Black Flame Forger, especially the forger's actions. I cannot see through his intentions. If he wanted to attract the attention of first-rate guilds and stand out, then he has no reason to hide his name. There would be plenty of large guilds contacting him. However, he has hidden his name, preventing anybody from contacting him. That means that he does not wish for others to know of his identity. Yet, he still competed with Hammer Trading, lowering the price for his equipment and letting everyone know of him once more. Now that he has entered our eyes, at the most heated moment, he suddenly withdraws from the competition and fades out of our sight once more. He has continuously brought us 3 different kinds of forged equipment. Being able to obtain that many forging designs for bronze equipment shows that he has great strength. Yet, why would he suddenly withdraw? What is this Black Flame Forger's goal? Or did he withdraw because he already achieved his goal? Until now, I still don't know what that Black Flame Forger is trying to do. He is filled with mystery in all aspects. Snow, how about I have someone research this forger? Hearing you say so, even I want to see what kind of person he is. After hearing Gentle Snow's analysis, realization struck Xiao Yueru. She suddenly grew an interest towards this Black Flame Forger. She also felt this person was not simple. Her interest towards the Black Flame Forger's identity overflowed. Just the thought of being able to expose this person's identity made her feel slightly excited. Meanwhile, inside an intermediate forging room on the 2nd floor of the Forging Association. Everyone, how goes your consideration? Hammer Trading sat cross-legged, casually asking as he looked at the representatives of the first-rate guilds with narrowed eyes. However, the conditions set out by Hammer Trading caused these first-rate guilds to go silent. Hammer Trading's conditions were too harsh. Just the villa he wanted in the city he lived in and the annual salary of 5 million credits would cause these guilds to take a step back, not to mention that he wanted all resources to be prioritized to him. Such treatment was most likely only enjoyed by the guild leader and the vice leader. Meanwhile, Hammer Trading wanted the same treatment as them. Then, didn't that mean he would be on equal footings with the guild leader and vice leader? You guys have to think through this clearly. It isn't easy for me to earn such a great reputation. As long as I join your guild, your popularity will immediately soar and surpass the other guilds. You won't have a shortage of bronze equipment and will be able to earn a large sum of money because of my forging techniques. The price I've given shouldn't be considered much, Hammer Trading said with a smile. His face held an expression that said, if you don't recruit me, there will be others who will. Don't regret it when that time comes. Hammer Trading had these first-rate guilds eating out of the palm of his hand. Right now, each of these first-rate guilds wanted to be a step ahead of the others. If so, they would be able to have a larger advantage in taking hold of a city. The wealth that came with possessing control over a virtual city was not something a mere 5 million credits and a villa could compare to. Hammer Trading's asking price could be considered low. Looking at the representatives of these first-rate guilds, although their expressions held hesitation, their eyes flashed with the conviction of recruiting him. Hammer Trading suddenly felt his action of investing all of his possessions into the competition this time was truly wise. If he hadn't steeled his heart to borrow money from loan sharks at the last second, he might have actually lost to the Black Flame Forger. Fortunately, the Black Flame Forger bit the dust a step earlier than he did, allowing him to taste the final fruit of victory. Just as Hammer Trading was being pleased with himself, the expressions of the numerous representatives around the conference table suddenly changed. Each and every one of them revealed expressions of shock and ecstasy. Brother Hammer Trading, I am truly sorry, but our guild has decided to withdraw from this competition and yield to the other guilds. Our guild won't be joining anymore, and I still have matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving, Star River Federation's representative suddenly said. This price is just too high. Our guild can only give up as well. We can only hope to cooperate with you in the future. For a moment, all the guild representatives started leaving. Moreover, every one of them seemed to be in a hurry. It was as if they could not help but to immediately run to some other place, not wanting to waste even a little time. What do you all mean? Not negotiating anymore? You guys better not regret it. I'm a forger that can craft bronze equipment. I won't join in the future, even if you all beg me. Is being able to forge bronze equipment amazing? Right now, the auction house is selling forging designs for bronze equipment. With the forging design, we can nurture our own forgers. We don't need to spend as much as 5 million credits at all. One of the representatives coldly laughed at Hammer Trading before leaving the forging room. What did you say? Speak clearly before you leave. Hammer Trading abruptly stood up after hearing this. He thought he had heard wrong. Chapter 71, Focus of the Auction House. Seeing as everyone had left, Hammer Trading sat in his chair, paralyzed. Both his eyes had a lifeless look in them. There was actually someone who was selling forging design for bronze equipment at the auction house? How was this possible? Hammer Trading had no way of understanding such behavior. It was as foolish as literally handing the keys to a treasury filled with gold to someone else. Only a brain-dead person would do such an idiotic action. No, they must be trying to trick me. Hammer Trading abruptly stood up, calling out the official forum. He wanted to make these people regret. He wanted to rip them off for daring to look down on him. However, when Hammer Trading looked at a few pinned discussion threads, he became instantly dumbfounded. There really was an idiot who was selling a forging design. Bronze equipment forging design appearing in the auction house. Pictures as evidence available. Clicking on the thread to take a look, Hammer Trading's mind went thoroughly blank. The forging design was actually for the Glimmer chest plate. It was the equipment previously sold by the Black Flame Forger. Everyone was very aware of how good the attributes on this item were. It was an absolutely top-tier item. If a first-rate guild were to get a hold of this forging design, they would not need him. This was because fame served little purpose to a first-rate guild. Previously, he dared to act presumptuously because he learned the forging design for the Savage chest plate. Now that others had a better forging design, who would pay him any heed? In the discussion, many first-rate guilds declared the forging design to be theirs, and they would fight whoever dared competed with them over it. Hence, everyone had started paying attention to the problem of the ownership of this forging design. There was no longer anybody who paid attention to Hammer Trading. Instead, each and every one of them was joyful over his misfortune, making fun of his end. This incident led everyone to admire the mysterious player who was selling the forging design. This mysterious player's means were extremely great, and people could not help but praise him. There was practically no blood seen when he killed. He only used a piece of paper to cause Hammer Trading, the rising star that received the envy and admiration of tens of thousands, to fall from his heavenly altar, tumbling down into the bottomless abyss and never being able to climb back up. Hammer Trading already bore a bitter hatred towards this player who sold the forging design. Just when his life of luxury was within his reach, it was all destroyed. Moreover, it was destroyed by a person who was brain-dead. Fear not a godlike rival, but fear a pig-like ally. Now, that saying needed an additional verse, and fear more a foolish passerby. Hammer Trading's eyes had currently turned crimson, his face extremely ashen. His expression alone was enough to devour a person. Not good. I definitely must buy it no matter the price. As long as I buy it, I can get back all the advantages. At that time, not only will I have the Savage chest plate, but I will also have the Glimmer chest plate. When that time comes, those first-rate guilds will have to prostrate and beg before me. Hammer Trading's current expression was just like a gambler who lost badly. He placed all of his hopes on buying out the Glimmer chest plate forging design. Thinking up to this point, Hammer Trading was no longer able to hold himself back as he swiftly rushed towards the auction house. However, it was not just Hammer Trading who was rushing towards the auction house. There were also the upper echelons of various guilds of various towns under the influence of White River City. All of them wanted to purchase the forging design. After all, everyone knew how powerful the Glimmer chestplate was. Owning the forging design was the equivalent of owning a mountain of gold. This incident caused an uproar at the auction houses of the various towns in White River City. The auction houses became unusually lively as players pushed against one another inside the building. The auction houses were filled to the entrances, making it hard for players even to enter. Meanwhile, the competition for the Glimmer chestplate forging design entered into full swing. Every one of the guilds had bid high prices. Within 10 short minutes, the price for the item had reached 1 gold coin. That's right, it was 1 gold coin. That was practically a large guild's entire fluid funds. In such a way, the price of the forging design constantly rose without any signs of stopping. Guild leader, I don't have enough money anymore. What do we do now? Crap, how can that be? I gave you 1 gold and 20 silvers, how can that not be enough? But, it's selling at 1 gold 56 silvers now. Crap, these people are insane. It's just a forging design. Hold on a bit, I'll immediately ask for some money from the money farming team. I don't believe we can't get it. As the price of the Glimmer chestplate forging design rose, bit by bit, each of the various guilds was constantly raising funds. They contacted money farming teams, their guild members, and in the end, even purchased from the virtual trade center. Meanwhile, Shifeng, the cause of all this madness in White River City, had just comfortably arrived at the library. Revered Miss Charlene, I have brought the items you requested. Can you dispel the curse for me now? Shifeng sincerely took out 2 gold coins, 30 pieces of moonstones, and the teleportation magic orb. After seeing the glittering gold coins, Charlene nodded her head in satisfaction. However, similar to the Holy Mother, Charlene shook her head and said in a pitiful tone, "Adventurer, you have truly astonished me. You managed to gather all the needed materials in such a short period. If I had known earlier, I would have told you that the moon drip ceremony possessed tears." Tears? Shifeng looked at Charlene's regretful expression, and he could not help but feel slightly odd about the situation. It was as if he was a mouse being stared at by a cat. Charlene sighed, saying, "The moon drip is a very ancient ceremony. In fact, aside from having a dispelling effect, there are still other effects. However, for convenience's sake, the ceremony was only used to dispel curses after constant alterations, while the other effects were greatly weakened. If you pay another 3 gold coins, I can gather all the needed materials to carry out the complete moon drip ceremony. Aside from helping you dispel the curse, it will also give you an unimaginably big harvest. Won't you reconsider it?" Big harvest. When Charlene uttered these 2 words, her voice sounded exceptionally loud, making it sound as if this big harvest was something amazing. However, Shifeng knew that the Charlene before him had some kind of see-through skill. Otherwise, how could she have guessed that there were still 3 gold coins inside his bag? He already wasted 3 gold coins to dispel the curse, and he did not wish to become a sucker. As if having seen through Shifeng's thoughts, Charlene added, "Adventurer, do you know of the legend about the demon-slaying sword saint, Celsius? Legends has it that Celsius was cursed by the great demon king, undergoing torment for a long period. However, after experiencing untold hardships, he finally discovered a method to dispel the curse, which was the moon drip. After undergoing the moon drip ceremony, he obtained a new life. He received matchless strength from the ceremony, thereby allowing him to defeat the great demon king and becoming a legendary sword saint on the continent of God's domain. Don't you think the sword saint Celsius was very mighty?" As she was speaking, Charlene's doll-like eyes constantly snuck peeks at Shifeng. She constantly let out lamented sighs at the mention of sword saint. Shifeng suddenly became speechless. Watching Charlene's actions, it was clear they were saying, "The sword saint is beckoning at you. Youngster, Won't you give it a go? Shifeng glanced at Charlin's face, full of smiles, and his heart filled with helplessness. This Charlin was a diamond salesperson. Although Charlin possessed an unruly temperament and criminally attractive body, asking for 6 gold coins was just a huge scam. 6 gold coins. That was equivalent to 36,000 credits. Very well. His heart was moved. If he could become a sword saint in the future, it would all be worth it. The new wouldn't come if the old didn't go. Esteemed Miss Charlin, I wish to try the complete moon drip ceremony. Will there be any danger? Shifeng unwillingly dug out another 3 gold coins. After receiving the gold coins, Charlin happily smiled as she said, "You can be at ease, adventurer. Although this is my first time, my skills are very good. Even my teacher praised me as a genius. Let us begin right away." Chapter 72, Demon Hunter. The sky was still dark as the moon lay unhidden, high up in the air. Inside the library located in the slums of Red Leaf Town. Adventurer, if you do not have any problems, then walk to the center of the magic circle. There will be a slight pain after the ceremony starts, so just endure it, and it will be over. Charlin pointed towards the center of the altar made of black stone. Her eyes carried a hint of excitement as she could finally start this experiment. Shifeng was completely unaware of Charlin's thoughts. He nodded his head as he walked into the magic circle. No matter how he put it, Charlin was a major character who possessed a Tier 3 job, so there shouldn't be any complications. As for the pain he would have to suffer, he thought nothing of it. During battles inside God's domain, a player could similarly feel pain when attacked by monsters. However, a majority of the players still chose to accept this kind of setting. Their goal was to increase the sense of realism, so they did not adjust the pain transmission to 0%. More importantly, they wanted to increase their skills in battle. There was an old saying of, "Spare the rod and spoil the child." Only with pain would one be able to remember the lesson, and only by learning the lesson would one be able to further improve. Hence, if one wanted to grow in God's domain, learning to accept such pain was a definite must. However, considering each player's tolerances, God's domain set the pain transmission at 20% by default. However, some experts would adjust the transmission to 60%, allowing them to be more alert. Meanwhile, Shifeng himself had adjusted it to 50%. This was the degree of pain he was accustomed to, and it was the amount at which he could best exhibit his strength. After standing in position, Shifeng sent a nod towards Charlin, indicating that she could start the ceremony. Descent of the Moon Goddess. Charlin started her prayer. Divine incantations left her mouth as her fingers traced out divine texts. Line after line of divine texts floated in midair and towards the horizon. Compared to the Tier 3 magic from before, the divine texts written in this ceremony were extremely numerous. Even after writing hundreds of lines, Charlin showed no signs of stopping. Sweat had already started dripping down Charlin's face, clearly indicating that she was somewhat exhausted. Meanwhile, the magic circle on the ground started to radiate a dazzling silver glow, the magic circle itself gradually rising into the air. After over 10 minutes had passed, a streak of shining moonlight shot toward Shifeng's body. Suddenly, dark smoke emerged from Shifeng's body. The dark smoke was extremely reluctant to part from Shifeng's body as it rose into the air. Meanwhile, sweat started appearing on Shifeng's forehead. His face turned pale white as he endured an intense pain. Shifeng nearly cursed at Charlin. This was definitely not at the level of just a slight pain, but it was very, very painful. It was as if his limbs were being torn from his body. If he had not already played God's domain for 10 years, having long since become accustomed to pain, he might be wailing like a ghost and howling like a wolf right now. After persistently being lit by the moonlight for several minutes, the black smoke finally departed from Shifeng's body. However, it did not just simply fade away. Instead, it formed into a dark shadow that was a carbon copy of Shifeng. Adventurer, you need to kill this demon's doppelganger in order to dispel the curse. I have to conduct the ceremony, so I cannot lend you any aid. It is all up to you now, Charlene reminded. Somewhat exhausted, Shifeng used observing eyes on this dark shadow. Yifeng, Demon's Doppelganger, Elite Rank. Level 4. HP 2000/2000. An elite? Shifeng's complexion turned serious. The demon's doppelganger did not have a lot of HP, and its level was similar to his. If this doppelganger did not possess any powerful skills, then dealing with it would not be a huge problem. However, that probability was slim. Wretched moon drip. Despicable human. Did you think that by using the complete moon drip to weaken my strength, you would be able to defeat me? I'll let you know the reason why lowly humans like you will never win against us powerful demons. The demon's doppelganger had an enraged expression as it pulled out a black longsword, slashing it at Shifeng. In the blink of an eye, the doppelganger arrived before Shifeng. A faint black ray followed as it waved its longsword. Within an instant, that single black ray turned into 4 streaks, all of them threatening to dice Shifeng into blocks of meat. Extraordinary condition. Shifeng was greatly shocked when seeing such an action. This speed far exceeded that of a normal elite. Immediately, Shifeng used parry. Dang, dang, dang. Shifeng retreated several steps before he stabilized his body. If not for the complete moon drip, this demon's doppelganger might not have been just an elite, but a special elite. Die. Despite having the upper hand, the demon's doppelganger did not give Shifeng any chances. It used Shifeng's chop, its sword pierced towards Shifeng's heart. Shifeng immediately activated Windwalk, his body abruptly dodging to a side as he distanced himself from the demon's doppelganger. After missing its attack, the doppelganger turned its head, using Windwalk as well to chase after Shifeng. Regarding strength, speed, and HP, the demon's doppelganger held most of the advantage. Moreover, the doppelganger also possessed the same skills as Shifeng. It was an extremely unfavorable situation for Shifeng. Seeing that it was about to catch up to Shifeng, the demon's doppelganger revealed a ruthless smile, saying, "I know whatever you know. Moreover, my strength is greater than yours. You have no chance to defeat me, so be good and wait for death. This is your fate." Then, do you know this move? Shifeng revealed a faint smile. 9 sword phantoms appeared beside him, and with a crashing sound, all 9 of them shot towards the demon's doppelganger. Although the doppelganger could block a majority of the attacks, a few phantoms of the abyssal blade still managed to pierce its body. Every attack from the phantoms dealt over -30 damage to the doppelganger. Despicable human, you are just relying on your weapon's strength. I'll let you know that all your efforts will be in vain. Saying so, the doppelganger rushed to Shifeng's front and used Thundering Flash. The moment the sword lights came, Shifeng calmly smiled as he took out 2 scrolls from his bag. One of them was a speed scroll, while the other was a polymorph scroll. Within an instant, Shifeng's speed abruptly increased, dodging to a side and avoiding the strikes from Thundering Flash. At the same time, he turned the demon's doppelganger into a sheep. After turning it into a sheep, Shifeng immediately slashed at it with his sword. Thundering Flash. Unable to dodge, the demon's doppelganger received all 3 sword lights. As a result, Shifeng's level 5 Thundering Strike caused 3 terrifying damages of -112, -135, -163. The demon's doppelganger was greatly enraged as it activated Defensive Blade. With its attack range greatly increased, it immediately slashed its sword down at Shifeng. This human was just too despicable. He actually used an unsightly method such as turning it into a sheep. Hee, and here I wondered how strong a demon would be. You clearly have a body that's stronger than mine, yet, you are still using the same skills as I do. I guess your standards are just at this level, Shifeng mocked as he dodged the incoming attack. You are courting death. A single sentence from Shifeng nearly caused the demon's doppelganger to faint from anger. It sent a double chop at Shifeng's neck. Feng pointed the abyssal blade at the demon's doppelganger, and within an instant, 9 pitch-black chains appeared and bound it, restricting it for 3 seconds. Phantom kill. Simultaneously, both the original and doppelganger activated defensive blade, and both started an onslaught on the demon's doppelganger. Thundering flash, chop, earth splitter, double chop, and many more skills struck the demon's doppelganger. In addition to the continuous attacks from the 9 dragon slash, the demon's doppelganger's HP madly decreased, dropping down to 10% within a moment. So what if you have a strong physique? So what if you know all of my skills? So what if you are a demon? Feng demanded. He pierced the chest of the demon's doppelganger. Meanwhile, the demon's doppelganger could only grit its teeth, grimacing in pain. Its fury burned within it. The moment the bindings restricting it were released, it would be able to properly deal with Feng. Just as it was about to bring out its special ability, however, the demon's doppelganger saw the scroll within Feng's hand. Suddenly, the demon's doppelganger thoroughly despaired. Bye-bye. Feng waved his hand at the demon's doppelganger. He knew that the demon's doppelganger was about to show its hand, so he had activated the Tier 1 magic scroll within his hand. Thunder Bombardment. This Tier 1 magic scroll was capable of dealing -500 damage to a single enemy that was below level 20. It was more than enough to deal with the demon's doppelganger that currently had less than 200 HP. Suddenly, a green thunder struck down from the sky above. It caused -500 damage to the demon's doppelganger, instantly transforming it into dark smoke, and it vanished. It also left behind a piece of dark gray-colored equipment. System, Quest, Moon Drip, completed. Rewarding 10,000 EXP, and Demon Hunter, title. Reputation in Starmoon Kingdom +5, Reputation in White River City +20, Reputation in Red Leaf Town +100. System, Reputation in Red Leaf Town has reached 50 points. Upgrading to Red Leaf Town First Class Citizen. System, Reputation in Red Leaf Town has reached 100 points. Upgrading to Red Leaf Town Third Class Noble. Chapter 73, Demon Mask. Feng was slightly shocked at seeing the series of notifications. 10,000 EXP was not considered much to a level 4 player like himself. It only raised him to 27% of level 4, and there was still quite a distance away before he became level 5. On the contrary, it was the other rewards that caused his eyes to shine. Just by killing an extremely foolish elite demon, he was able to obtain an ample amount of reputation as payback. Feng truly did not dare imagine it was real. Reputation was extremely precious within God's domain. There were very few quests that could raise a player's reputation, and even those quests would only increase a minuscule amount. As long as a player's reputation was sufficiently high, they would be able to receive high-level quests that were normally unavailable. Players would also be able to purchase items that were not normally for sale, such as bronze equipment, special potions, and so on. At the same time, there would be discounts when purchasing items, and NPCs would have a favorable impression of you. All in all, there were many benefits brought about by reputation. After a player's reputation reached a certain degree, they could also become a noble. In God's domain, nobles were considered amongst the privileged class, and they enjoyed plenty of benefits. Being a noble was also a symbol of status. If a commoner were to anger a noble, the consequences would be severe. A light offense would result in imprisonment, while a heavy offense would result in execution. Hence, players did not dare offend nobles. So much so, that even if a noble were to beat up a commoner inside a safe zone, the guards would pay no heed to the commotion. This was the gap between statuses. This was also the reason Feng was so shocked. Now that he possessed the title of noble in Red Leaf Town, he would be able to do things with much more convenience in the future. Feng then thought of several high-level quests that only nobles could accept. What function does this Demon Hunter title have? Feng called out the system interface, taking a look at the information about the Demon Hunter title. Demon Hunter. A brave warrior and an exorcist of demons who is revered by others. Wherever you go, you will possess a status equal to a noble. You are the Grim Reaper who is feared by all beings affiliated with darkness. In a 100-yard radius, monsters affiliated with darkness will have their attributes reduced by 10%. At the same time, attacks you deal towards monsters affiliated with darkness will have a 10% increase in damage. Crap, this title is just too awesome. Shi Feng became slightly excited after reading the introduction to the Demon Hunter title. If a person did not have a considerable understanding of God's domain, they would have no understanding of the significance of this title. It was similar to how a dog would not know the value of a gemstone. Shi Feng only became a noble in Red Leaf Town after his reputation there had reached 100 points. However, this title was only limited to Red Leaf Town. After leaving the Red Leaf Town, nobody would acknowledge him as a noble. Of course, if Shi Feng were a noble of White River City, he would be acknowledged as one throughout the area under the administration of White River City. The title had a much wider range of application. Compared to a noble of a town, the difference between the two was obvious at a glance. Meanwhile, a demon hunter would have the status of a noble in every region. This meant that even after leaving Starmoon Kingdom, Shi Feng would still be acknowledged as a noble in other countries. It should be known that not every country was friendly with each other. There were even some who were enemies. If Shi Feng wanted to do a quest in another, he would have to go through many difficulties and even be discriminated against. However, with this title, he would no longer be discriminated against by NPCs. This was the true value of the Demon Hunter title. Compared to it, being a noble in Red Leaf Town was no longer worth mentioning. Shi Feng picked up the equipment dropped by the demon's doppelganger. Demon Mask, special item. Upon wearing it, the user can disguise himself as another person. Disguise cannot be broken without using a high-level observing skill. Truly a good item. The 6 gold I spent was definitely worth it. Shi Feng happily stored the demon mask. This item was an artifact meant for robbing houses. Although he wouldn't do such a thing, it would not hurt him to use it for other matters. Adventurer, the ceremony has ended. Carrying out this ceremony has greatly weakened me, so I am going to White River City to recover for some time. If you wish to know more information about the Bible of Darkness, then find me there along with my payment. I will be waiting for you. Currently, Charlene appeared to be very delicate, her previous shrewdness completely gone. After saying her piece, she immediately activated a teleportation circle and went to White River City to recover. Shi Feng was inwardly shocked as he watched Charlene's beautiful image departing. The moon drip ceremony this time was definitely not as simple as he previously thought. Otherwise, a divine official, which was a tier 3 job, would not be so greatly weakened. Even Shi Feng felt as though he would be able to defeat Charlene right now. One could imagine just how weakened Charlene was. Forget it, that's none of my business. Now that the curse has been dispelled, and my attributes have recovered, I can finally start speed leveling. The earlier I reach level 10, the earlier I can activate the teleportation gate to White River City. Shi Feng shrugged his shoulders, no longer minding the matters of great characters. A small character like him still had many matters to take care of. To build up from nothing, many things needed to be done. Forget competing with those guilds, just being paid attention to by a great demon had caused him enough headaches. He was not so leisurely as to pay attention to other matters. Following which, Shi Feng departed from the library. He headed to the Chefs Association to take a look at Violet Cloud's current progress. Red Leaf Town, Trade Area. Just after setting foot in the trade area, Shi Feng discovered something fishy. Now that the sun had risen, logic dictated that players should have gone out to level up. Yet, the streets were currently filled with players who were holding discussions with each other. In short, it was extremely lively. It was as if a festival of celebration was being held. From time to time, Shi Feng could also see some of the upper echelons of large guilds running about the streets, shouting. They were urgently shouting, purchasing game currency. The greater the amount, the more we'll pay. If it were any other time, Shifeng would not think much of it. However, the street was currently filled with various players purchasing game currency. Now, that was something abnormal. What happened? The big shots from guilds were actually loosely buying game currency from average players. According to reason, these guilds would have their own money farming teams or a signed contract with money farming specialists. In such a way, they would be able to obtain a lot of game currency. However, their current actions meant the game currency supplied by the money farming teams was insufficient. Originally, Shifeng was still fretting over the problem of how he would get these guilds to spend their money. Now, however, it would seem that he had done something unnecessary. With a wave of his finger, Shifeng called out the virtual trade center. He wanted to investigate the current trade conditions. Hell, what sort of situation is this? All of it is sold out already. Shifeng discovered that the remaining 2 gold 70 silver he registered had all sold out. Now, over 15,000 credits were being transferred to his bank account. Consequently, Shifeng then took a look at the sales condition of other gods' domain game currency. Currently, the highest price for 1 silver coin had reached 72 credits, while a majority of the people were buying them at 68 credits. The current price had increased by no small margin. Just as Shifeng was rejoicing over having sold all of his gold coins, a cursing voice came from behind him, breaking his good mood. "Boss, this bastard's the one. The day before yesterday, I saw him casually taking out 10 silver coins. He must definitely be rich. Now that our guild is in such a need of money, if we don't make this brat bleed a little, there will be no justice for me being locked up for so long," Drifting Blood said with a cold smile as he pointed toward Shifeng, a group of players following behind him. "Brat, you were the one who had attacked my brother?" Looking toward Shifeng, the person referred to as boss snorted as he asked. Shifeng turned around, his brows wrinkling after taking a look. The person referred to as boss was comparable in size to Kola. He had a fierce-looking face, and he seemed to be around 30 years of age. In Shifeng's previous life, he once crossed paths with this person. Similarly, a swordsman, the person was named Ironsword Lion. He was one of the finest experts in martial union, and his strength was extremely powerful. During those days, their 2 guilds had fought over monsters on several occasions, and Ironsword Lion killed Flaming Tiger twice throughout those confrontations. Ironsword Lion caused Shifeng's party major losses, and they had no choice but to flee in dejection. Even Stabbing Heart of Assassins Alliance suffered defeat at the hands of Ironsword Lion. From then on, Ironsword Lion's name was widely spread, allowing martial union to rise to a third-rate guild. Shifeng intended to say something, but he was interrupted by Ironsword Lion. Ironsword Lion looked at Shifeng's scrawny body. Although the equipment on Shifeng was of good quality, Shifeng himself did not possess the air of an expert, and furthermore, he did not possess a guild emblem. Ironsword Lion determined that Shifeng was just a leisure player and that he must have bought some equipment just to show off. Immediately, Ironsword Lion proudly said, "Little brother, since you've beat my underling, pay up 20 silver coins, and this matter will be over. Otherwise, don't blame my sword for being merciless." Chapter 74, Ironsword Lion. It would be a miracle not to attract attention, getting involved in a robbery in the middle of the bustling trade area. As expected, just after Ironsword Lion finished speaking, a crowd of players surrounded them to get in on the fun. "Huh, isn't that Ironsword Lion from Martial Union? Is he awesome or something? You don't say. Why don't you look at his level and equipment? He's one of the rare few level 5 experts, and he is wearing at least 6 pieces of bronze equipment. I've also seen the weapon in his hand before. It's called Knight's Long Sword, a very awesome weapon amongst level 4 bronze weapons. Moreover, he previously killed a lot of players outside the town, earning him a lot of glory. Che, they're just relying on numbers to bully others. How can that even be considered being skillful? If they're that good, they should fight those large guilds. At most, they can only bully newbies. They're even asking that guy for 20 silver coins. Isn't that just going overboard? Gaming experts would only have 3 or 4 silver coins on them, not to mention carrying 20. They are clearly forcing him into a corner. Shoo! Speak softer. That Ironsword lion isn't bullying people with numbers. His strength is the real deal. Previously, he was a top-tier expert in a Wuxia virtual reality game, but he was compelled to transition to God's domain. Yesterday, he kill-stealed outside of town with other players and single-handedly defeated all 4 of them. Those 4 players were not noobs but gaming veterans. They are stronger than us by at least a few leagues. If Ironsword Lion were to hear you, then tough luck, buddy. At that time, your only way out would be to delete your account and start all over again. Listening up to this point, the surrounding players all sucked in a breath of cold air. They no longer dared spout baseless gossip, their eyes sending pitiful gazes toward Shifeng. Of all the people Shifeng could provoke, he had chosen to provoke an expert. Moreover, an expert that covered up the shortcomings of his subordinates. Unless Shifeng deleted and recreated his account, he would definitely have to pay the 20 silver coins. However, leveling up to level 4 was a difficult task. If Shifeng chose to delete his account, then 2 days of his effort would be wasted. The average person would rather pay up than delete their accounts. This guy is just meeting one misfortune after the other. If it were normal times, he would just have to spend a few credits to collect the 20 silver coins. Now, however, not only are the prices for God's domain game currency ridiculously high, but it is also extremely hard to buy any. Right. Seeing such a high buying price, even I am thinking of selling my game currency. However, going with this trend, the prices will still increase in the future. I want to stock up a little more, putting them up for sale later on. Just as the surrounding players were lamenting over Shifeng's bad luck, at a stall by the street, several players were quietly watching Shifeng. These players all wore luxurious equipment on their bodies, and each of them carried a faint smile on their faces. Brother Stabbing Heart, should I go lend a hand? That way, Yifeng will have to owe us a favor, a male cleric that resembled a skinny monkey asked as he looked at Stabbing Heart. Stabbing Heart fell into deep thought. He felt that the cleric's words were logical. Indeed, Shifeng had very powerful techniques, and he was also acquainted with a great character like the Snow Goddess. However, Ironsword Lion was a brutish expert. He also had the support of his guild. Overall, Shifeng was definitely in a disadvantageous situation. If Stabbing Heart were to lend Shifeng a helping hand, Shifeng would definitely be grateful to him. The favor of a great expert was extremely valuable. Often, a great expert such as Shifeng was necessary for clearing a large dungeon. However, without good relations, such experts would usually pay zero heed to invitations, and some would go so far as to look down on them in contempt. Who did you think you are? Have you not received any education? Go, we definitely must go. However, let us wait for a while. Our value will only stand out in a crucial moment. It is also a good chance to let those plebeian guilds know of our might, Stabbing Heart softly said, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. After spending so many years within the virtual gaming world, Stabbing Heart understood a single principle. Every additional expert he befriended was an additional path he could take in the future. What's more, Shifeng was a great, hidden expert that was acquainted with the Snow Goddess. If he were to antagonize instead of befriending Shifeng, he would be digging his own grave. He would be creating a great enemy for himself in the future. Alas, a small guild was doomed to remain a small guild. After mingling about for so many years, they did not even possess the eyesight to differentiate an expert from average players. It definitely wouldn't be long before natural selection eliminated them. When the moment came, Assassin's Alliance would kill the chicken to warn the monkey too, utilizing martial union to raise their influence in Red Leaf Town. Little fool, weren't you so awesome? How come you're acting like a fool now? I've said before that I would return, and when that time came, it would be your time of death. If you obediently hand over 20 silver coins right now, you can continue mingling about. Otherwise, delete your account and start all over again. Standing behind Ironsword Lion, Drifting Blood watched Shifeng stand there in silence. He felt immensely pleased with himself, thinking Shifeng had become afraid. However, such a reaction was only natural. Boss Ironsword's strength was a profound mystery, and even 10 of himself would not be a match to Boss Ironsword. If a mere leisure player like Shifeng were to meet the tyrannic Boss Ironsword, he might have already been shocked dumb. Enough, Drifting Blood. I'm not an evil tyrant, nor do I wish for more trouble. These 20 silver coins can be considered as a lesson to him. I want him to know who he should and should not provoke. Ironsword Lion looked Drifting Blood in the eye, then turned towards Shifeng and proudly said, "You don't have to worry, either. I, Ironsword Lion, am a person who holds true to my words. Hand over 20 silver coins, and as long as you don't provoke martial union, we will not find trouble with you." Hearing Ironsword Lion say so, Shifeng really took out 20 silver coins from his bag. The silvery glow given off by the coins attracted people's hearts. At this crucial period of the game, 20 silver coins were extremely hard to procure, even if one spent credits to purchase them. As for taking out 20 silver coins in one go. Crap, brat, you really are rich. So, what Drifting Blood said was indeed true. How about we become friends, and I'll cover for you in the future. Anybody who provokes you will be provoking martial union. Ironsword Lion was greatly shocked at seeing the 20 silver coins, gulping down his saliva. Even he did not possess 20 silver coins right now. He did not imagine that Shifeng, a leisure player, could bring out 20 silver coins. With that much money, Ironsword Lion would have much more confidence in competing for the Glimmer chestplate forging design. When the surrounding players saw all these silver coins, their mouths all gaped wide in shock. Shifeng was truly rich. He was definitely a tycoon. Some of the upper echelons of large guilds also had their eyes turn red after seeing this scene. Ironsword Lion's luck was truly good. He was able to meet a brother tycoon just by simply searching for a player. How could it be? From afar, Stabbing Heart's expression was one of incomparable shock after witnessing Shifeng's actions. However, what Stabbing Heart was shocked about was not the amount of money. Instead, he was shocked by Shifeng's unexpected action. Even if Shifeng could not win in a fight against martial union, this place was currently a safe zone. Nobody would dare to take action in here. After leaving the town, with Shifeng's skills, escaping was definitely not a problem. So, just why did Shifeng compromise and offered up 20 silver coins? You wanted 20 silver coins, right? Shifeng asked Ironsword Lion with a smile. Let's trade. Noticing that he had lost his composure, Ironsword Lion immediately turned serious. Just as everyone was watching Ironsword Lion with envy. An incomparably pitch-black longsword pierced through the pit of Ironsword Lion's stomach. Ironsword Lion's HP was instantly reduced by over 100 points. Just as the person himself wanted to resist, he had discovered many chains binding him, preventing him from even moving a muscle. Shifeng calmly pulled the abyssal blade out from Ironsword Lion's stomach. He then followed up with a chop and an earth splitter, his sword slashing down on Ironsword Lion's body. As a result, Ironsword Lion's HP madly fell without any signs of stopping. The might of a magic weapon was incomparably shocking, even more so when coupled with a level 6 chop and a level 4 earth splitter. Killing a level 5 swordsman fully geared with bronze equipment was a truly simple matter, not to mention that Shifeng had been the one to take the initiative and carried out a sneak attack. Even an expert would fall under such circumstances. These two attacks took all of Ironsword Lion's HP. Ironsword Lion did not even get the chance to retaliate before letting out a pitiful cry, his body falling to the ground, never to move again. Then, his body turned into starlight, vanishing and leaving behind a piece of equipment. Who else wants it? Shifeng fixed his gaze on the members of Martial Union, giggling as he asked. The entire street of the trade area suddenly became deathly silent. Not a single person was able to mutter a word. Chapter 75, Money is a Burden. Ironsword Lion died, just like that. This ending was the complete opposite of everyone's expectations. From the moment Shifeng's sword pierced Ironsword Lion's stomach to the moment of Ironsword Lion's death, everyone clearly witnessed Shifeng's every action. However, one thing that made everyone feel odd was that Shifeng's sword was not really that fast. From their perspective, even they could easily dodge Shifeng's sword. So, why couldn't an expert like Ironsword Lion? Ironsword Lion died without even being able to retaliate. Could it be, did Ironsword Lion just look impressive, but was actually a weakling? Was he just a paper tiger? However, everyone immediately denied such a silly notion in their hearts. Ironsword Lion's equipment was not fake. Him being level 5 was not fake either. He was a genuine expert. However, how could an expert fully geared in bronze equipment, whose defense and HP far outstripped the average player, be killed so easily? It was truly inconceivable. Even if an average player were to attack Ironsword Lion madly, they would need quite some time before they could kill him off. However, Ironsword Lion was taken care of by Shifeng in only 2 moves. How horrifying of an attack power did Shifeng possess to achieve such a feat? Thinking up to this point, everyone felt utterly defeated. What fat sheep? What tycoon? The Shifeng before them was simply a devil wearing a human mask, giggling at them. Meanwhile, they had been completely oblivious to the truth. A cold chill suddenly flowed through their bodies, causing them to shiver. They no longer dared to look at Shifeng's smiling face. You're despicable. Drifting Blood retreated a few steps, his trembling finger pointing at Shifeng. Currently, Drifting Blood was facing incomparable shock in his heart. Compared to other people, he had a much greater understanding of Ironsword Lion's strength. Regarding Shifeng's strength, he had a deep experience and fear of it. He became even more frightened now that he was targeted by Shifeng once more. However, after having a better understanding of the situation, the place they were currently was a safe zone. What should he be afraid of? Suddenly, he laughingly said, "You're finished. Since you dared kill inside a safe zone, nobody will be able to protect you now. Just wait for the guards to come give you your sentence and lock you up." Everyone came to a sudden realization after hearing Drifting Blood say so. Previously, Shifeng sent all of them into shock. They had actually forgotten that this place was a safe zone and there were powerful guards protecting this place. Even if Shifeng was powerful, was he able to overpower the guards? In a moment, Shifeng would definitely be captured by the guards, falling to a miserable end. Truly a pity. However, he is truly courageous for killing someone inside a safe zone. It would still be worthwhile, even if he were killed by the guards and sent to closed confinement. Whatever the case, he was able to shine for a moment. He will still be a hero when he gets released tomorrow. So cool. Big brother expert, little sister knows how to warm beds. Please add me as a friend. Please help me level. I swear I'll be obedient. Amongst the players present, plenty started admiring Shifeng's courage. Not only did he dare to go against martial union, he even challenged the laws of Red Leaf Town. Shifeng was literally their idol. Quite a number of good-looking female players started looking up information about Shifeng. Some of them had even taken the initiative to send him a friend request, wanting to get to know him. At this moment, a team of heavily armored soldiers walked over. Drifting Blood pointed at Shifeng, laughingly saying, "Weren't you very awesome? I want to see what you're going to do this time. Not only are you going to lose a level, but you will also be confined for 24 hours. Even if you are an expert, you will be reduced to a second-rate player after being confined for a day. At that time, I'll be looking forward to how our martial union will take care of you. Whether you go up to heaven or fall to hell, nobody will be able to save you." A distance away, Stabbing Heart was currently feeling endless regret. Although Shifeng's series of actions just now looked to be slow, the feeling it gave off was extremely natural. His actions were as natural as breathing, not a hint of awkwardness about them. Stabbing Heart's admiration for Shifeng was even greater now. Shifeng's actions were the assassination techniques that Stabbing Heart pursued after. Average people would not understand what this represented. However, Stabbing Heart had played plenty of virtual reality games before, and he also had experience participating in fighting competitions. Hence, he understood just how powerful Shifeng's skills were. If it were the him of the past, Stabbing Heart would not feel anything special about Shifeng. However, he previously had the fortune of interacting with a martial arts master. That martial arts master previously mentioned such a situation. Battling itself was just the pursuit of the simplest method of slaughter. When such a technique was mastered to the extreme, others would be unable to feel any awkwardness about it. Instead, it would give off a very natural feeling. As for those experts who had reached such a level, all of them were extremely dangerous. That was because, even if they were to stand before you with a smile, slashing a blade across your throat and you clearly witnessed it all, you would still take it as a joke. So much so that you wouldn't even feel the danger that approached you. Your body would not react, and even until death, you would still be unaware of the attack. This was not some sort of profound technique. It was a kind of instinct that could only be learned after experiencing countless battles and training. However, such brutal training was not something the average person could go through. However, Shifeng had taken away Stabbing Heart's rare chance at making Shifeng owe him a favor. Stabbing Heart did not imagine Shifeng would be so decisive, killing Ironsword Lion with zero hesitation. How was he supposed to show off now? How was he supposed to find an opportunity to seek Shifeng's guidance now? Stabbing Heart had no ways to deal with the guards who just arrived. Regarding this situation, Stabbing Heart held bitter hatred towards Ironsword Lion. The person actually caused him to lose a good chance to ask for guidance. Wearing a silvery gray heavy armor, the guard captain walked up to Shifeng. The other guards surrounded him accordingly, causing the atmosphere of the street to become abnormally oppressive. "Mr. Guards, it was him who killed my big brother. You definitely must arrest him." Drifting Blood walked towards the guard captain, his face carrying a cold smile as he pointed at Shifeng, accusing. However, the guard captain paid no heed to Drifting Blood. Instead, his deep gaze shifted to Shifeng, a faint smile appearing on his face, saying, "Revered Lord Demon Hunter, this place is Red Leaf Town. According to the laws of the town, you have to pay the price for killing someone here. Otherwise, I can only invite you to make a trip to the confinement room." Everyone became dumbfounded after listening to the guard captain's words. Drifting Blood's mouth widened even more. It could fit 3 chicken eggs. What sort of situation was this? The guards did not actually kill Shifeng on the spot. Moreover, he would only be confined if he did not pay the fine. Was Shifeng the town mayor's son or something? No, that wasn't right. The town mayor was already dead. No one understood why the guards were so courteous today. When usually meeting them, not to mention a faint smile, they were gods of slaughter with grim expressions. "I only killed him because he threatened me. However, I am not an unreasonable person. Tell me, what price do I have to pay?" Shifeng nodded his head, calmly turning towards Drifting Blood and giving him a calm smile. Shifeng had his own reasons for daring to kill Ironsword Lion. Everyone else just recently entered God's domain, so they were still unfamiliar with the rules of the game. However, Shifeng had lived within God's domain for 10 years. He had long since memorized what actions he could and could not take and to what extent he could take them. Shifeng was currently a noble. His status far outstripped that of commoners. If he was not a noble, he might have just turned around and left without paying any attention to Ironsword Lion. At worst, he would just start an exciting battle if they were to meet outside the town. Who would win at that time was still an unknown. However, Shifeng was now a noble. Even if he killed a normal player, the guards would not speak much of it, only requiring Shifeng to pay a fine. As for how much he would have to pay, that depended on his identity and status. However, according to his own wealth, Shifeng was still able to accept the fine. 2 silver coins. The guard captain straightforwardly said. Okay, got it. Here are 20 silver coins, keep them. Shi Feng did not imagine that it would be so cheap. Hence, he took out 20 silver coins and passed it to the guard captain. Lord Demon Hunter, what are you trying to do here? Looking at the 20 silver coins in his hand, the guard captain oddly asked. Nothing much. These people before me threatened me previously, so I still wish to kill a few more people. Take it as an advanced payment. The guard captain was stunned. Finished speaking, Shi Feng unsheathed the abyssal blade. He used the level 5 thundering flash, 3 streaks of thunder instantly piercing the bodies of drifting blood and the others. All of them were instantly killed, dropping quite a lot of equipment. Even till death, drifting blood had not reacted to what happened. At the same time, Shi Feng's green-colored player indicator had turned a devilish red. All of the onlookers were stupefied. Who was this Shi Feng? He was just too awesome. The players from Martial Union were most likely dumbfounded now. Shi Feng had simply spent 20 silver coins to purchase their lives. With money, you could do whatever you wanted. The more unfathomable thing was that the guard captain did not say a word about Shi Feng's actions. He only counted the number of players who died. Discovering that he had received 4 extra silver coins, he returned the additional silver coins to Shi Feng before he turned around and left. Chapter 76, Earth-Shattering Name. After getting rid of all of Martial Union's members, Shi Feng sealed the feud between him and Martial Union. However, Shi Feng did not regret his actions. Even if he turned and left just now, the players from Martial Union would not have let him go. So, he might as well weaken Martial Union's strength. He would have an easier time dealing with them the next time they met. Seeing several pieces of equipment on the ground, without paying any attention to the shock and curiosity of the onlookers, Shi Feng went over and collected them. At the very least, these items could recompense the money he lost for purchasing lives. Oh, isn't this the knight's longsword? Shi Feng discovered that 2 pieces of bronze equipment dropped, and one of the 2 was the bronze weapon of Ironsword Lion. Perhaps Ironsword Lion was already spewing blood in anger in the graveyard right now. The knight's longsword was a good weapon amongst level 4 bronze equipment. In God's domain, equipment for weapons specialists and MTs were slightly higher than other equipment of the same level. Currently, the knight's longsword would be worth at least 10 silver coins. In addition to the other piece of level 3 bronze cloth armor and several pieces of common equipment. Shi Feng discovered that he actually did not take a loss. On the contrary, he had made an additional 1 or 2 silver coins. Just when Shi Feng was planning to leave, a change occurred to the gazes of the onlooking players. Greed permeated their faces. Shi Feng had easily taken care of Ironsword Lion. He even killed several elite players with a single move. Not even a ghost would believe that Shi Feng did not possess top-tier equipment. Moreover, Shi Feng was currently a red player. If a red player were killed, the penalty they received would increase. Moreover, Shi Feng had killed so many players. If he were to die, he would at least drop 3 or 4 pieces of equipment. So, what if the guards confined them for some time? Could it compare to obtaining top-tier equipment? If a noob wished to grow into an expert, having good equipment was a must. If they were to kill Shi Feng, they would have a chance at becoming an expert. So, why wouldn't they kill him, unless they were willing to remain mediocre? What? You guys are looking for trouble with me, as well? Shi Feng coldly laughed as he looked at his surroundings. It had been a while since he felt the sensation of being deep within enemy grounds. After receiving Shi Feng's cold glare, everyone inadvertently retreated. None of them dared to be the first to attack. They were all waiting for someone to attack first, then take advantage of the situation to reap benefits for themselves. All of you, get out of the way. Yi Feng is a friend of our Assassin's Alliance. Whoever looks for trouble with him, will be looking for trouble with our Assassin's Alliance. At this moment, Stabbing Heart, along with a group of over 10 subordinates, created a path through the crowd as they headed toward Shifeng. When the players who wanted to kill Shifeng heard Stabbing Heart, every one of them were shocked. Who actually was Shifeng? Not only did he possess formidable strength, but the Assassins' Alliance even protected him. The Assassins' Alliance was well known throughout Red Leaf Town. It was the sole second-rate guild in Red Leaf Town, and its members could be found throughout the entire Starmoon Kingdom. However, the core strength of the Assassins' Alliance was located around the area of White River City. Other guilds could not compare to its influence. If they were to become enemies with the Assassins' Alliance, they would really have to delete their accounts and start all over again. That was because the Assassins' Alliance was famed for their assassinations. The feeling of being targeted by a group of assassins, just thinking about it could make a person tremble with unease. With the appearance of the Assassins' Alliance, the surrounding players no longer dared to have ideas over Shifeng. Since they could not fish up any advantages, everyone promptly left the scene. Many thanks, Shifeng said gratefully, looking towards Stabbing Heart. Nonsense. With Brother Yifeng's strength, even if I didn't show up, they would still be helpless against you. I was just pushing the boat along the current. Stabbing Heart cupped his hands, saying in admiration, "Today, Brother Yifeng has really widened my horizons. Even I would find it hard to kill Ironsword Lion. I did not imagine Brother Yifeng's skills to be so powerful as to get rid of Ironsword Lion in just a few moves. I was just lucky," Shifeng calmly said with a smile. Brother Yifeng really is humble. However, there is one matter that I can't make sense of. Why won't the guards find trouble with Brother Yifeng, even when you killed players in the safe zone? Stabbing Heart had faintly guessed the answer already, however, he still did not believe that Shifeng could accomplish it that quickly. Nothing much. I only have such a special privilege because I just completed a quest and became a noble in Red Leaf Town. Shifeng did not hide the truth from Stabbing Heart. He knew that he would not be able to hide it, so he might as well reveal a portion of the truth. As for the Demon Hunter title, he would still have to keep it a secret. Otherwise, it would be too eye-catching and attract unwanted trouble. Stabbing Heart's heart loudly thumped when hearing Shifeng's explanation. His eyes stared at Shifeng, mind-boggled. Assassins' Alliance had spent an unknown amount of effort to obtain reputation for Red Leaf Town. Yet, they only managed to obtain 10 reputation to date. Even Broken Wind, guild leader of the first-rate guild, Star River Federation, was only a first-class citizen, and there was still a long way to go before he became a noble. However, the Shifeng before him was actually a noble already. The difference between them was just too huge. Originally, Stabbing Heart already had a high estimation of Shifeng's strength. He truly did not imagine that he was still underestimating Shifeng. However, according to his memory, he was acquainted with most of the top-tier experts that used swords. Even the ones he weren't acquainted with, he had at least met before. However, Shifeng did not resemble any of the figures in Stabbing Heart's memory. However, the world was a wide place. There was bound to be some top-tier experts who hid from the world. Now that God's domain's influence was growing larger by the day, it wasn't particularly strange for these experts to enter God's domain as well. It was no wonder that the snow goddess acted extremely friendly when dealing with Shifeng. Stabbing Heart guessed that Shifeng was an extremely famous but hidden expert and that he was merely unaware of him. The earlier he tightened the connection with such hidden experts, the greater the aid it would be towards the guild's future development. Thinking of up to this point, Stabbing Heart smiled slightly. He felt his luck was good for discovering a top-tier expert like Shifeng. Shifeng, on the other hand, did not know why Stabbing Heart suddenly smiled. He took a glance at the street filled with guilds purchasing game currency, abruptly asking, "Brother Stabbing Heart, I wonder what has happened here? Why are there so many guilds trying to collect game currency?" "Oh, you don't know?" Stabbing Heart was slightly shocked, looking at Shifeng with astonished eyes. This matter had already become well known amongst the players in White River City, so how could Shifeng not know about it? Shifeng shook his head, saying, "I've been doing my quest all this time, only returning now. So, that's why." This matter has also only recently started. Stabbing Heart came to a realization. He then explained, not long ago, a glimmer chestplate forging design appeared on the auction house. You should know how good the attributes on the glimmer chestplate are. The usefulness of its forging design goes without saying. After all the guilds discovered its existence, all of them started competing over it. Our guild is no exception. Unfortunately, our guild's background is still slightly lacking, and Star River Federation won the forging design for 2 gold and 33 silver coins. Originally, our guild had already given up. However, it wasn't long before another glimmer chestplate forging design appeared on the auction house. That was the start of all the commotion. Every guild has started to madly collect funds, all of them wanting to bid on it. The bidding this time ended with the glimmer chestplate forging design being sold for 2 gold 51 silver coins. Nobody could have imagined that a third piece would have appeared right when many guilds were feeling disappointment. Right now, everyone is still bidding over the third piece. However, according to my estimates, the third piece will be sold at an even higher price. Only, nobody knows if there will be more of the forging designs up for auction, so I came here to collect game currency. Currently, everyone is guessing that Black Flame Forger is selling the glimmer chestplate forging designs. After all, bronze equipment forging designs aren't just cabbage, not to mention similar forging designs. Moreover, the Black Flame Forger was the one who previously sold glimmer chestplates. So, everyone inwardly understands that these forging designs are being sold anonymously by this Black Flame Forger. I have to admit that this Black Flame Forger's strategy is truly clever. Previously, he competed with Hammer Trading to reduce the price of glimmer chestplate. However, it turns out that his eyes were not set on the equipment, but on the current forging designs. Hammer Trading, who had competed with the Black Flame Forger, had thoroughly become insane as well. Although he declared that he would compete with the Black Flame Forger until one of them went broke, unfortunately for him, the Black Flame Forger no longer paid any attention to him. Currently, a lot of people wish to get in touch with the Black Flame Forger. Unfortunately, there is no way to contact that person. The snow goddess of Ouroboros even posted a thread on the forums, asking the Black Flame Forger to contact her. She wants to discuss the matters of cooperation and wants him to state his price without hesitation. With this, the Black Flame Forger had thoroughly become famous. Aside from White River City, the entire Starmoon Kingdom is currently discussing the Black Flame Forger. He is currently acknowledged as the #1 forger in all of Starmoon Kingdom. Stabbing Heart felt deep regret as he spoke. His expression revealed reverence towards the Black Flame Forger. So, that's it. I wonder if Brother Stabbing Heart would be interested in purchasing the glimmer chestplate forging design? Shifeng casually asked Stabbing Heart, after having a general grasp of the situation. Chapter 77, Adding Fuel to the Fire. Although Shifeng only casually asked, Stabbing Heart's head, however, abruptly spun, his eyes looking at Shifeng with anticipation. With an excited expression on his face, he asked, could it be? Brother Yifeng, you have the glimmer chestplate forging design? Currently, forging designs for bronze equipment were madly fought over by the large guilds, all of them competing with the depth of their financial backing. Nobody could firmly say the remaining number of glimmer chestplate forging designs that would be sold. Maybe the first-rate guilds would buy up all the forging designs, second-rate guilds' chance to obtain one might never come. If he could obtain a forging design for a bronze equipment right now, then the Assassins' Alliance could stay a step ahead of the other second-rate guilds. They would be able to create a great reputation for themselves and make a large profit. At that time, they would have a greater chance when competing over White River City. However, Shifeng simply shook his head. Stabbing Heart's excited mood was suddenly extinguished, becoming downhearted. However, after he gave it some thought, aside from the Black Flame Forger and Hammer Trading, there had yet to be a third player who could bring out a forging design. After all, such an item depended on luck to obtain it. Didn't you want to bid for the glimmer chestplate? I can lend you some money, Shifeng said in an unhurried tone. Realization struck Stabbing Heart. Shifeng indeed was very rich. It was obvious that he had considerable possessions from the way he was able to take out 20 silver coins without effort. However, compared to those first-rate guilds, the difference was still far too great. It would be amazing if Shifeng had 30 to 40 silver coins. Hence, Stabbing Heart said with a sigh, "Brother Yifeng, it's not that I don't believe you, but the glimmer chestplate forging design's price is just too high. Just 20 or 30 silver coins won't be very useful." "Oh, then how much do you need to bid for it?" Shifeng confidently asked. Although Shifeng did not know how much was needed to bid for the forging design, he had over 4 gold coins that he obtained from the 2 forging designs that were sold. The money from these 2 items had already been deposited in his bag, so he was certain he would be able to bid for the 3rd glimmer chestplate forging design successfully. He could also make Stabbing Heart owe him a favor by doing so. In any case, these coins would still end up in his hands. Why would he be against this decision? The results of the glimmer chestplate forging design far surpassed Shifeng's expectations. With this many guilds going all out, competing for the forging design, it was no wonder there was a game currency shortage, causing the price to soar. However, this situation was a very good news to Shifeng. If Shifeng did not add fuel to the fire right now, he would not be doing his long period of arduous effort any justice. Stabbing Heart raised 3 fingers, helplessly saying, "The competition right now is becoming increasingly heated. According to my estimates, we would need at least 3 gold coins to secure the bid. Otherwise, there is no hope for success. How much do you have on your side?" Shifeng asked, taking the initiative. He did not intend to lend Stabbing Heart 3 gold coins in a single breath. "I have 2 gold 10 silver. It is extremely hard to collect game currency right now, as the other guilds have purchased almost all of it. I have already planned to give up the competition, and instead, go and level up," Stabbing Heart said with a sigh. "Then I'll lend you 90 silvers. That way, you will have collected 3 gold coins," Shifeng said, smiling. He immediately selected to trade with Stabbing Heart, placing 90 silver coins in the trade window. Stabbing Heart was suddenly shocked and he saw the 90 silver coins inside the trade window. He did not imagine Shifeng would possess that much money. Also, Shifeng had also spent over 10 silver coins just now. Didn't that mean that Shifeng had at least 1 gold coin on his person? If the Assassins' Alliance did not put all their efforts into collecting funds, then the guild's fluid funds would be similar to the amount Shifeng possessed. However, they were a second-rate guild, and their guild members numbered over 20,000. They also had a specialized 500-man money farming team. Meanwhile, the money Shifeng had earned, alone, was actually more or less the same as their guild. "Brother Yifeng, thank you, truly. I will repay this favor in the future." Stabbing Heart excitedly exclaimed, "However, I can't just let brother take a loss. Tomorrow, I will definitely return 1 gold coin to you." Currently, the game currency of God's domain was extremely precious, especially in this period where forging designs were being competed over. Originally, Stabbing Heart wanted to purchase it using credits. However, when he thought about the preciousness of the game currency, it was hard to buy, even if he had the money. Moreover, Shifeng did not lack credits. Hence, he did not have the nerve to let those words leave his mouth and instead chose to compensate Shifeng with an interest of 10 silver coins. However, Shifeng had become slightly speechless as he only wished for credits. He was shouldering a large debt right now. In addition to the workshop and the rent he needed in the future, he was desperately in need of money. What would he do with that much game currency? How could it be as dependable as credits? The earlier he started his workshop, the earlier he could recruit stable party members. When he could enter large-scale dungeons, he would be able better earn money, level up, and increase the workshop's reputation, building a better foundation for establishing his guild. If he started too late, it would be hard even to set foot in White River City. Every moment counted right now. "Brother Stabbing Heart, don't say it such. If you didn't show up today, I would not be able to avoid a bloody battle." I owe you a favor, so for these 90 silvers, I'll just sell you each silver coin at 60 credits. Every guild would be in need of coins in the initial stages of the game, so you don't have to be polite with me, Shifeng said in a sincere tone. Stabbing Heart was immediately moved by Shifeng's words. He thought that Shifeng was a friend who was worth knowing. If he returned Shifeng 1 gold coin tomorrow, it would cause quite a lot of trouble to the guild's operation. Moreover, nurturing forgers and purchasing materials required large sums of coins. It couldn't be any better if he purchased them using credits. I can't thank Brother Yifeng enough. However, 60 credits is a little too low. I don't have the nerve to buy them at that price, and just saying it would cause others to make fun of me. I'll buy each silver coin for 80 credits for a total of 7,200 credits. I'll transfer them to your account immediately. Stabbing Heart was very joyful. Even if Shifeng were to have complaints about the matter, Stabbing Heart would still stubbornly transfer all 7,200 credits to Shifeng. Brother Yifeng, I'll be leaving to bid for the forging design first. If you have any problems in the future, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'll definitely go all out to help you. Finished speaking, Stabbing Heart hurriedly left with his subordinates to the auction house. Seeing the additional 7,200 credits in his bank account, Shifeng helplessly smiled. His opinion of Stabbing Heart grew even more favorable in his heart. Currently, his bank account had more than 20,000 credits. The money for 2 virtual gaming helmets was now secured. At the very least, he would not lose the virtual gaming helmet after the 7-day duration was up and lose the ability to play God's Domain. The remaining task he had was to earn even more money and collect some funds before the start of the school's fellowship party. Who knew, he might obtain a great chance at the fellowship party, building an unshakable foundation for his workshop. In Shifeng's previous life, Shadow had obtained a big chance at the fellowship party. It was precisely because of this chance that allowed Shadow Workshop's strength to greatly increase, giving them the confidence to compete with other third-rate guilds over controlling rights for White River City. In this life, since he was to attend the fellowship party, he would not let go of this great opportunity, naturally. He would compete for as much as he could. Following which, Shifeng looked for a hotel and rented a guest room there. In Red Leaf Town, the red name above his head was too eye-catching. If he did not look for a way to deal with it, his every action would attract the attention of surrounding players. I never thought I would have to use this item this quickly. Shifeng took out the demon mask from his bag. He could not help but shake his head and laugh. If he did not have this item, he really would have a difficult time solving the matter of his red name. After wearing the demon mask, Shifeng adjusted his facial appearance. His new appearance was very different from his original self. At the same time, his red name also turned green. If others did not possess a high-leveled observation skill, they would not be able to see through his disguise. After confirming that there were no problems, Shifeng placed his remaining 3 gold coins onto the virtual trade center. Each silver coin was sold for 80 credits. Based on the current level of competition, as long as the Assassins' Alliance successfully bid for the forging design, those first-rate guilds and other second-rate guilds would most likely be unable to sit tight. The competition then would be more insane than now. Shifeng was not worried that his game currency would not sell. Just as Shifeng was about to leave the hotel, a sudden realization flashed past him. He lightly tapped his own forehead. How could I forget about this thing? Now that I have the demon's mask, how can I not properly use it? Shifeng revealed a bright smile. Chapter 78, Black and White Interweave. The demon mask was able to hide the user's identity. In God's domain, it would be inconvenient for Shifeng to reveal himself in many matters. However, with the demon mask, he would be able to have another identity to move about in the darkness, carrying out many tasks that he, himself, could not do. And right now was one such time. After walking out of the hotel, Shifeng took a look at his surroundings. He discovered several players behaving oddly. Their eyes were glued onto the hotel's main entrance as if they were waiting for something. However, due to the effects of the demon mask, these players did not pay any attention to Shifeng. Why hasn't that brat come out yet? Is he planning to stay inside there until his red name changes back? An assassin standing outside the hotel entrance said impatiently. What are you in a rush for? That brat is dead for sure. He actually dared to sneak an attack on Boss Ironsword. He even killed so many of our brothers. The enmity between him and Martial Union has already reached an irreconcilable state. I want to see just how long he can hide. If he were to wait foolishly, instead of killing monsters to reduce the weight of his crime, he would need to wait more than 30 hours before his red name disappears. Even if he is currently powerful, after more than 30 hours have gone by, our equipment and levels will surpass him by a huge leap. At that time, killing him to level 0 will be much easier, another assassin said with a sneer. While these players from Martial Union were making fun of Shifeng, they did not notice their target standing right next to them, and that he heard every single detail of their conversation. Martial Union's sure is quick in taking action. They really are thinking highly of me if they send a party of assassins to watch out for me. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to play around with them. I'll just let them wait for the sky to turn bright. Shifeng had long since guessed that Ironsword Lion would not let him go. After all, Shifeng had crossed paths with Ironsword Lion many times in his previous life. He had a very good understanding of Ironsword Lion's personality. Ironsword Lion would definitely want revenge. Even if he had to pay a great price, as long as he was able to obtain revenge, he would definitely do it. Moreover, he would repay it hundreds to thousands of times over. If one were to put it nicely, Ironsword Lion was a simple man. If one were to put it badly, however, Ironsword Lion was a person with a one-track mind. Others could easily discern his thoughts. Following which, Shifeng departed from the hotel with a carefree attitude. Meanwhile, the party of assassins was still foolishly waiting in front of the hotel's entrance. They were jeering at Shifeng's cowardice, only daring to hide inside the hotel. In the end, death would still be awaiting him. At the trade area, a sea of people crowded in front of the auction house. Shifeng could not even squeeze himself inside to purchase materials. Without a better option, Shifeng could only give up for now and visit the Chefs Association to take a look at Violet Cloud's progress first. Compared to the currently popular Forging Association, the Chefs Association was completely deserted. There was only a fragment of lifestyle players entering and leaving the association. After arriving at the kitchen he previously rented, Shifeng readjusted the demon mask, returning to his original appearance but still hiding his red name. After entering the kitchen, Shifeng discovered Violet Cloud currently concentrating on making fruit juice. Her hand movements were extraordinarily speedy and experienced. She was currently also level 3, surpassing many other lifestyle players. Although Shifeng had seen many master chefs make cold beverages before, none of their actions were as smooth and natural as Violet Cloud's. It was truly hard to believe why Violet Cloud would say her production speed was extremely slow. Her speed was shockingly fast. Did Violet Cloud intentionally trick him? Shifeng shook his head, feeling that Violet Cloud had no reason for doing such a thing. Hence, he walked over and suddenly asked, "Violet, how are you faring?" However, as if Shifeng's question did not enter Violet Cloud's ears, she was still concentrating on making fruit juice. There was nothing else present in her heart. Looking at Violet Cloud's degree of focus, Shifeng was slightly shocked himself. He no longer tried to interrupt Violet Cloud and instead, chose to stand by the side and observe her. After more than 10 minutes had passed, Violet Cloud had yet to discover Shifeng's presence. Meanwhile, she had already crafted more than 10 cups of fruit juice. These fruit juices looked extremely refreshing, and they gave off a faint, captivating fragrance. After she used up the materials in her hands, just when Violet Cloud was about to retrieve more. Ah! Violet Cloud was shocked into a jump as she discovered that her boss, Shifeng, was standing behind her. From the looks of it, he had been waiting for quite some time now. Violet Cloud's heart became frantic as she thought about how she let her employer wait for so long. Lowering her head, she said in a nervous tone, "Sir, have you completed the 900 cups of fruit juice?" Shifeng asked with a smile. Shifeng's evaluation of Violet Cloud had greatly risen as of this moment. The more focused someone was when doing something, the greater the efficiency. It was also easier for them to overcome difficulties. However, not everyone was able to constantly maintain a high degree of focus, just like how a student's thoughts would wander after studying for a long period of time, or become absent-minded after listening to the teacher's lecture for some time. However, Violet Cloud possessed extraordinary focus. When carrying out a task, her efficiency would definitely increase by several folds, doing half the work for double the effect. It was no wonder why she was able to become a cleric god in the end. Even if she were not a cleric, and instead played some other job, her achievements would most likely still be great. And they're all done. However, I obtained a realization when I was making them before. After spending a lot of materials, I created a new fruit juice. You won't blame me for it, right, sir? Violet Cloud said, slightly afraid. After all, she did not carry out her task according to Shifeng's requirements. After completing the 900 cups of fruit juice, she went on to concoct other recipes. Shifeng involuntarily laughed. Looking at the hundreds of cups of fruit juice on the table, he encouragingly said, "Why would I blame you? More than that, I want to reward you. With the new fruit juice, I will have greater confidence in carrying out that task of mine. Here are 3 silver coins as your reward. I hope that you can bring forth many new creations in the future. As for your share in the sales of these fruit juices, I'll give it to you after I sell them. As for the fruit juices, you no longer need to make them for now. Afterward, focus on making the wolf meat dishes. I still have a great use for them." Currently, players did not regard wolf meat as precious. However, after it was turned into a wolf meat dish, its price could be increased over 10 times. Such an increase was due to the fact that after consuming the wolf meat dish, every job would have their main attributes increased by 5 points, and its duration was 1 hour. Such an increase was extremely attractive to a majority of the players. The increase was equivalent to gaining another level, and with it, they would be able to kill monsters much more quickly. Only, after taking the manufacturing costs into account, most of the current chef players did not pay much attention to dishes with such high costs. However, by the time they did pay attention, they would have already missed a huge opportunity. "Thank you, sir. I will definitely complete my task." Excitement and appreciation filled Violet Cloud's face after she received the 3 silver coins. She felt she was truly lucky for being able to meet Shifeng. Otherwise, she would still have to conduct sales out in the streets, only to end up selling just a few cups. Even if she were to strive for an entire week, she would not be able to earn 3 silver coins. Yet, she had such an amount with just a day's effort. Following which, Shifeng stored all the fruit juices in his bag. There were more than 1,700 cups of them, and if each cup were sold at 1 copper coin, then that would sum up to 17 silver coins. To an average player, it was definitely a huge sum of money. To Shifeng, however, it was just spare change. However, Shifeng did not intend to sell any of them as he had another use for them. System: the Glimmer chestplate forging design you have placed on auction has been sold. After deducting the processing fees, a total of 2 gold 76 silver has been added to your bag space. Has Assassin's Alliance won the bid already? Shifeng called out the official forums. Just as expected, the Assassin's Alliance posted a thread, widely advertising the forging design they successfully bid on and taking the chance to increase their fame and influence. After all, being able to purchase a forging design indicated the guild's background. This would cause many leisure players to reconsider their estimates of the Assassin's Alliance's strength. Violet, if you wish to convert your coins to credits, wait for another hour or 2 before registering them on the virtual trade center. That way, you will be able to obtain a higher price, Shifeng reminded Violet Cloud after some thought. Violet Cloud obediently nodded her head. Although she did not understand Shifeng's intentions, she still chose to believe in him. After all, Shifeng was currently her knight in shining armor. Afterward, Shifeng gave Violet Cloud another 5 silver coins for her to purchase the materials needed to make the wolf meat dish. He then departed from the Chef's Association, his appearance changing into an older gentleman. It's about time I contacted her. Shifeng had done all the necessary preparations. Moreover, the Assassins' Alliance had caused the other guilds to start to panic. So, now was about the right time to contact that person. Shifeng called out his friend Window and looked for the snow goddess, a cunning smile appearing on his face. Chapter 79, Mysterious Black Flame. In the core area of Kuruk Fields, one could see groups of grassland lion cubs every 100 meters or so. If a party's positioning were slightly off, they would attract tens of grassland lion cubs towards them. Moreover, at the large tree located in central region of the fields, there lived a level 6 elite grassland lion. That place could be said to be a forbidden area for level 6 players. However, inside this forbidden area, Gentle Snow's party was constantly clearing the surrounding level 6 grassland lion cubs. They were clearing out an empty land for the purpose of hunting the elite grassland lion. If ordinary players were to see their daring actions, they would definitely exclaim in astonishment. A party waged battle against more than 10 grassland lion cubs. Wearing a suit of azure armor, Gentle Snow valiantly battled. She was like a war goddess, fighting 1 against 10,000. A simple slash from her had sent 3 grassland lion cubs flying. Simultaneously, she was dodging the claws of the remaining 2 lion cubs. If an expert were to see Gentle Snow battle, their eyes might have popped out of their sockets by now. Although her single slash seemed simple, she struck the vital points of all 3 grassland lion cubs. Her dodges were even more accurate. It was like she possessed eyes at the back of her head. Without even turning her head, she was able to avoid the claw strikes that came from behind her. On another side, the flame witch, Zhao Yueru, was like an artillery cannon. A single frost flame blast from her had taken away a third of the grassland lion cub's HP. Just when the grassland lion cub switched hatred and was about to rush at Zhao Yueru, the woman, herself, revealed a smile of disdain. As her mouth chanted the final verse of an incantation, her lily-white hands finished writing the incantation. Following which, a flame dragon appeared. The dragon spewed scorching hot flames, immediately decimating the grassland lion cub rushing towards Zhao Yueru. Zhao Yueru's control over magic was extremely subtle, reaching its pinnacle. Her chanting and tracing were even more extraordinary. Normally, players would need 3 seconds to complete both actions, but Zhao Yueru only spent 1.6 seconds. Her completion rate was even at 86%, increasing the damage of Fire Dragon's roar by 120%. This single move instantly took away 2/3 of the grassland lion cub's HP. A few moments later, more than 10 grassland lion cubs lay dead on the ground. Rest for a while and prepare to lure those 2 elite grassland lions over. Shield Warrior, you'll tank one, while I handle the other. After tidying up the loot, Gentle Snow commanded as she looked towards the 2 patrolling elite grassland lions in the distance. Just as everyone was resting, Gentle Snow received a single message signed with the name of a black flame. Looking at this signature, Gentle Snow's brows slightly wrinkled. Previously, she put out word that she wished to discuss matters of cooperation with the Black Flame Forger. It did not take long before she received a reply. Originally, she had felt rather joyous at the fact. However, a few moments later, she received another pile of similar messages. All of them claiming themselves to be the Black Flame Forger. However, after undergoing a simple questioning and identification, she discovered that all of these players were fakes. Every one of them wanted to swindle some money from her. Snow, is it another harassing message? Why not you just set it so you can only receive messages from your friends? That way, these messages won't bother you anymore. Zhao Yueru suggested after noticing Gentle Snow's unnatural behavior. Gentle Snow shook her head, saying in a serious tone, I'm not acquainted with the Black Flame Forger. If the real Black Flame Forger were to contact us, and we weren't able to receive his message, wouldn't we have posted that thread for nothing? I'll still take a look at it. In any case, it is very easy to determine the authenticity of the Black Flame Forger. However, Gentle Snow suddenly froze when she read the message. That was because this message had very clearly proven the authenticity of this Black Flame. He wanted her to go to the virtual trade center, and using the password he had given, enter a designated trade room to trade for the Glimmer chestplate forging design. It seems that I finally have some gains after waiting for so long. Gentle Snow revealed a faint smile. From the contents of the message, she could clearly feel that this Black Flame was the real deal. Otherwise, he would not suggest trading the forging design at the virtual trade center. After all, Black Flame imposters would not have a forging design. What is it? Did the real Black Flame contact you? Looking at Gentle Snow and nodding to her question, Zhao Yueru became immediately excited. Wishing to meet this mysterious forger, she asked, "When do we meet him?" Currently, the Black Flame Forger was known by everybody. He was even in possession of a forging design that could increase a guild's influence. After carrying out one questionable action after another, only now did they find out his true motive. Zhao Yueru couldn't help but admit the brilliance of the Black Flame Forger's methods. He paid such a huge price all to control the initiative in the game played by the various guilds. Now, every guild within the area of White River City could not help but get caught up in this spiral, otherwise, they would be eliminated by the other guilds. His unpredictable actions even caused her to feel admiration. He was unlike a certain someone who was clearly just a lucky bastard, yet, still pretended to be an expert. Just thinking about that person made Zhao Yueru's blood boil in anger. Compared to the Black Flame Forger, the difference between them was thousands of miles apart. I just contacted him. However, he does not want to add us as friends. He only said he wants to meet at the level 8 map, Phissus Canyon, in 4 hours. Phissus Canyon isn't that far away from our current location. I'll buy the forging design first, then we'll quickly clear up these elite grassland lions. If we hurry over, we should be able to make it. Even Gentle Snow was clearly excited right now. There were so many first-rate guilds in Starmoon Kingdom, yet, she didn't imagine that the Black Flame Forger would actually be willing to cooperate with them. She couldn't help but admit that they were extremely lucky, or maybe that Black Flame had some other plans. In any case, she wouldn't be able to see through the thoughts of this Black Flame. Great. Then let's hurry. If we make him wait too long, it would be terrible if he didn't want to meet us anymore. Zhao Yueru abruptly stood up, excitedly saying so. Look at you in such a hurry. We still have time. Gentle Snow rolled her eyes at Zhao Yueru. She did not imagine that Zhao Yueru would be so interested in Black Flame. Normally, she would not be as enthusiastic towards other people she met. Meanwhile, Shifeng, the target of Gentle Snow and Zhao Yueru's conversation, had already departed from Red Leaf Town. He was running towards the White Sand Ruins. The White Sand Ruins was a level 10 monster area. It was also one of the must-come leveling areas for players of Red Leaf Town and several other nearby towns. That was because the quests available here were very numerous. Amongst them, there was no lack of guild quests and reputation quests. There were even 2 unique quests here. The rewards for these 2 unique quests were extremely bountiful, and they would bring plenty of benefits to Shifeng when he officially entered White River City in the future. Hence why Shifeng was running to the White Sand Ruins. Just as Shifeng arrived at a sea of white sand, a message from Gentle Snow arrived. The message stated that they had to delay the meeting time by an hour suddenly, and as a compensation, aside from buying the forging design at price of 24,000 credits, they would give him an additional 20,000 credits. Their wealth was practically overbearing. Shifeng did not really mind the delay in time. In any case, he also needed quite some time to complete the quests here. Meanwhile, 20,000 credits was 2 months' worth of salary of a gold-collar worker. Gentle Snow used it as compensation for being late. Moreover, this was only the start of the business between them, yet, he had already earned more than 40,000 credits. He could not help but admit that there were many benefits for working with a person like Gentle Snow, especially when the person herself was not lacking money. Even the rich from other virtual reality games could not compete with her. Following which, based on his memories, Shi Feng searched for a secret path in the White Sand ruins. After walking this path for nearly half an hour, he caught sight of a bunker buried in the white sand. 2 level 10 elite black steel dwarves guarded the bunker's entrance. One of the 2 unique quests, Steel Fortress Barrutia, could be found inside this bunker. Chapter 80, Steel Fortress Barrutia. Black Steel Dwarves, they were a group fanatics addicted to forging. The civilization of the Black Steel Dwarves was once incomparably brilliant, and their shadows could be found in the creation of countless pieces of legendary equipment. The arms of Black Steel Dwarves were as thick and robust as their thighs, and their muscles were as hard as stone. In addition to their dark skin color, often they were mistaken for rocks during nighttime, and many people would sit on them accidentally. Of course, the consequences of such an action were very grave, as the thing these Black Steel Dwarves hated the most was being treated as stools. Shi Feng straightforwardly walked over. This bunker in the White Sand ruins was extremely well hidden. In Shi Feng's previous life, it took a long time before the many guilds doing quests in the White Sand ruins discovered the bunker. They received many good quests from this bunker, and some quests even gave away mysterious iron equipment. However, such quests usually required a party in order to complete them. It was absolutely impossible for a person to complete them alone. However, compared to these quests, the favorability of these Black Steel Dwarves was much more important. This secret was also only discovered after players had already reached more than 20 levels. There was a unique quest called Steel Fortress Barrutia available here. However, because the unique quest required a certain amount of favorability before a player could receive it, many players missed the chance to obtain it. On the contrary, an unknown average player received the unique quest. Moreover, after completing the unique quest, the player instantly became the recruitment target of many guilds. Arriving in front of the bunker's entrance, the 2 elite Black Steel Dwarves standing guard let Shi Feng enter after giving him a simple glance. The inside of the bunker was very large. It was just like an underground town. Black Steel Dwarves were everywhere, and the majority of the streets were composed of either weapons and equipment shops or bars, with very few places of entertainment. Moving along the main street, Shi Feng arrived before a steel building after making several turns and detours. The building was the city hall, and when Shi Feng entered the building, the town mayor, a level 30 elite NPC, quickly noticed him. As it has been a long time since any outsiders entered this small town, the mayor happily went up to welcome Shi Feng. "Hello, adventurer. Welcome to Stonemer Town. I am Blackbeard, the town mayor." Blackbeard warmly said. "Hello, Lord Mayor. It is my first time coming here, so I wondered if I could be of any use to you." Shi Feng performed respectfully, as such actions would give NPCs a more favorable opinion of him. Blackbeard caressed his thick beard. After thinking for a while, he said, "Adventurer, our small town indeed needs help. The weather of area around here is getting hotter by the day, and our water supply is continuously diminishing. As a result, it is getting harder for the inhabitants to live in this small town. I will pay a sufficient price, so I hope you can help us obtain a large water supply or something that can help with the heat." "System, do you wish to accept the quest, Blackbeard's request?" Shi Feng revealed a faint smile. He was here exactly because of this. "I will be happy to help," Shi Feng responded. The most important thing in Rockhammer Town was the town mayor's favorability. However, the town mayor's favorability was not that easy to obtain. That was because the quest he gave was not easy to complete. Moreover, the rewards of the quest were few, causing many players to give up on grinding for the town mayor's favorability. System, quest, Blackbeard's request, accepted. Offer 100 bags of clear water or 5 cups of cold beverage to the town mayor Blackbeard. Following which, Shi Feng retrieved the fruit juice he had prepared. For every 5 cups of fruit juice Shi Feng offered, he could obtain 2 copper coins, an increase of 1 point to Blackbeard's favorability, and 100 EXP. To a level 8 to 9 player, 100 EXP could be considered negligible. Just by simply killing a level 10 common monster, they would be able to obtain over 200 EXP. Moreover, 100 bags of clear water were sold for 5 copper coins in other towns, and 5 cups of the cheapest kind of cold beverage would similarly cost 5 copper coins. After deducting the cost, that meant that players would be spending 3 copper coins in exchange for 100 EXP. Only a lunatic would be willing to do such a thing. However, Shifeng was very willing. To his current level, 100 EXP was not a small amount. It was a lot more than the EXP he would obtain from killing a level 5 common monster. Following which, Shifeng handed over fruit juices without stop. After he handed over 1,000 cups of fruit juice, he obtained a total of 400 copper coins and 200 points of favorability. He also obtained 20,000 EXP, instantly bringing him up to 69% of level 4. He had risen so much just within 10 short minutes. It was literally faster than grinding on level 10 elite monsters. After his favorability reached 200 points, Shifeng started asking Blackbeard about the unique quest. However, Blackbeard remained silent, his eyes darting about, pretending to know nothing about the quest. As expected, my favorability is still not high enough. Shifeng had more or less expected such a result. Hence, he brought out Violet Cloud's new type of fruit juice. Lord Mayor, what do you think about this kind of fruit juice? After seeing this new fruit juice, Blackbeard took it in his hands and gave it a whiff. Suddenly, both his eyes shone as he excitedly said, "This cup completely surpasses the previous 5 cups. Adventurer, I wonder how many of these do you have? I am willing to pay an extra 1 copper coin to purchase it." Shifeng couldn't help but be stunned when he saw Blackbeard's extremely satisfied expression. He did not imagine that Violet Cloud's craftsmanship would be so good as to tempt even an NPC into willingly to concede. Such a situation was very rarely seen in God's domain. Since Blackbeard liked the new fruit juice, Shifeng naturally continued the transaction without stop. He had a total of 750 cups of the new type of fruit juice. Every cup earned him 3 copper coins, 1 point of favorability, and 100 EXP. It could be seen just how much Blackbeard loved this item. In such a way, Shifeng easily received 2,250 coppers and 750 points of favorability. He also received 75,000 EXP, instantly bringing him to 46% of level 5. His leveling speed was like a rocket. Unfortunately, making the new type of fruit juice required a lot of time. Moreover, Violet Cloud still had other matters to tend to. Otherwise, Shifeng really wanted Violet Cloud to make up to 10,000 cups for him, instantly rushing to level 10 and over. With 950 points of favorability, the town mayor Blackbeard finally opened his mouth. Moreover, he did not hide any secrets this time. He was treating Shifeng like his close friend. Shifeng had even received the Stonemer key, which had not been mentioned by the player in his previous life. System, Unique Quest, Steel Fortress Barrutia, accepted. Player is required to go to Phissis Canyon to look for the fallen Steel Fortress Barrutia and obtain the Titan's heart from within it. Town Mayor Blackbeard will provide an extremely bountiful reward for it. With such a high amount of favorability, Shifeng could also purchase forging designs from Blackbeard. Shifeng was shocked after taking a rough look at the available items. There were a total of 10 forging designs for sale. 5 of them were common equipment forging designs, 3 of them were bronze equipment forging designs, 1 of them was a mysterious iron weapon forging design, and the last was a mysterious iron equipment forging design. Blackbeard must have even taken out his inheritance with this. These forging designs were all for level 8 to level 10 equipment. However, the bronze equipment forging designs were sold for 60 silver coins each, while the mysterious iron ranked forging designs were sold for up to 1 gold and 50 silver coins. Even if an average player were to discover them, they would definitely be unable to purchase them. Fortunately, this time around, Shifeng had sold another 3 pieces of the glimmer chestplate forging design. The money he possessed increased by more than 9 gold coins once more. Otherwise, even he could only look at the items with envy. Lord Mayor, these 3 bronze-ranked forging designs and 2 mysterious iron-ranked forging designs, I want all of them. Shifeng simply handed over 4 gold 80 silver. Unfortunately, these forging designs were bound upon purchase. Otherwise, he would be able to earn at least double or triple the amount just from reselling them. The weakest amongst these forging designs was a level 8 bronze equipment. However, even that would bring about an unimaginable improvement to the current guilds. After all, the current highest leveled players were just nearing level 6, while a large majority of the players were still using level 1 or level 2 common equipment. Just imagining when everyone rose to level 8 and every member of a party possessed a piece of level 8 bronze equipment was frightening. After completing the transaction, Shifeng suddenly received a system notification. Chapter 81, Equipment Improvement. Shifeng was shocked after reading the system notification. Blackbeard's favorability of him rose to 1,000 points, reaching the level of revered. System, congratulations. You are the first player to achieve revered favorability with an NPC. Rewarding 1 mysterious iron treasure chest. Luck really can't be stopped once it comes. I wonder what items will come out. Shifeng impatiently opened the refined mysterious iron treasure chest. Inside the treasure chest, there was a piece of equipment and an ornament. Dark Pursuer's Cape, Secret Silver Rank. Equipment requirement, Agility 70. Defense plus 20. Strength plus 4, Agility plus 8, Endurance plus 4. Movement speed plus 2. Evasion plus 6. Additional ability, Silent Steps, allows the user to arrive at the target's back silently. Maximum range of 40 yards. Cooldown, 3 minutes. Interpreter's Pendant, Mysterious Iron Rank. Level 7. Equipment requirement, Intelligence 30. Intelligence plus 6, Endurance plus 2. Magic damage increased by 5%. In the current times, these 2 pieces of equipment could be considered extremely rare. It was especially true for the Dark Pursuer's Cape. The cape was well suited for weapons specialists, and it would definitely increase their strength when equipped. Meanwhile, Silent Steps was an ability similar to the instantaneous movement of mages and shadow steps of assassins. It was equipment meant for PK. The Interpreter's Pendant was even more of a top-tier ornament. Just based on the 5% increase in magic damage alone, mages could continue wearing the pendant until level 20 without falling behind in the slightest. Let's give this ornament to Blackie. After some thought, Shifeng deemed that Blackie was most reliable person right now, and he was also a mage. As for the cape, he was currently unable to equip it. Its requirement of 70 agility was just too high. At the very least, Shifeng needed to be level 10 before he could equip it. Looking at the equipment, Shifeng suddenly recalled that he was already level 5. Just by relying on the Abyssal Blade's attributes, in addition to adding his 6 free attribute points into strength, he was now able to equip the Silvermoon set equipment. Just at level 5, Shifeng was able to equip the best set equipment for swordsmen under level 10. His overall attributes were literally without rival, and the quests he would do later on would become much easier. Hence, Shifeng added all his free attribute points into strength and equipped the 5 Silvermoon set pieces. Also, now that Shifeng was level 5, the swordsman's dual-wielding talent had activated. Shifeng was now able to wield 2 one-handed swords. Shifeng then took out the secret silver-ranked Crimson Blade, equipping it on his subarm. After completely equipping himself, Shifeng was shocked when he took a look at his own attributes. There were very, very few players with attributes like his in all of God's domain. Not to mention the set effects on the Silvermoon set equipment. Effect 1, Attack Power plus 15, Defense plus 30. Effect 2, HP increased by 10%, Life Shield, Tier 2 after activating. Creates a life shield that absorbs 60% of the damage received, with 500 maximum damage absorbed. Effect 3, damage received reduced by 10%, attack speed increased by 10%. Shifeng's HP was now close to 1,000 points. With these 3 effects, he was even tankier than an MT. His damage output had received an even larger improvement. Wearing a suit of silvery white armor, the pitch-black abyssal blade hanging on one side of his waist while the bloody red crimson blade hung on the other, Shifeng was like a hero that traveling around the world. There was still some time before the meeting with Gentle Snow, so Shifeng received 2 advanced quests from Hammerstone Town. They were all quests requiring him to kill level 10 twin-headed snakes. The quests required 20 snake galls and 30 venomous fangs. After completing the quests, Shifeng would be able to obtain rare ore and forging materials. These materials were all needed to make the mysterious iron equipment and weapon, and normally, they were extremely hard to find. After jogging for over 20 minutes, Shifeng finally arrived at an oasis in the white sand desert. There was a group of twin-headed snakes circling nearby. Twin-headed snake, common rank. Level 10. HP 950/950. Although the twin-headed snakes had low HP, an average level 10 player would not be capable of going solo against them. Normally, they would need help to take these monsters on. Monsters in God's domain would have a qualitative change once they reach level 10. Their attack patterns were extremely flexible, and they knew how to defend against attacks. These were traits you would not find in common monsters below level 10. Without plenty of battle experience, average players would find it very hard to block or evade their attacks. Apart from this, their attacks would carry an additional special skill, and a slight slip in attention would cost players their lives. As for the twin-headed snake's attack pattern, it would usually attack with one of its heads, while defending with the other. Because of this, a solo player would find it hard to deal damage. In addition to the fatal Fang skill it possessed, as long as it bit a player, they would be poisoned and lose 50 HP every second for 15 seconds. If they did not dispel the poison, an average player would practically lose their lives to it. Shifeng slowly closed in on the twin-headed snakes. Before he even reached the 20-yard range, a twin-headed snake the height of an adult spat out its tongue, rushing toward Shifeng. Since he had been discovered, Shifeng took the initiative to rush over as well. Wind Blade. The abyssal blade transformed into a black streak of light, piercing towards the vital point of the twin-headed snake. The snake reacted extremely quickly, one of its heads immediately bit down on the abyssal blade, preventing the abyssal blade from moving a single inch. Meanwhile, its other head opened its mouth widely, its sharp venomous fangs leaking a bluish-green poison as it bit at Shifeng. Shifeng's other hand waved the crimson blade, the weapon transforming into a red streak as it slashed at the twin-headed snake. Pung! He stuck as the twin-headed snake was retreating, and a damage of over 60 points appeared above its head. On the other hand, Shifeng only lost slightly more than 10 HP, and he did not retreat even a single step backward. Following which, the abyssal blade slashed towards the undefended belly of the twin-headed snake, immediately causing -96 damage. Incidentally, the abyssal blade's ability, Doom Curse, was triggered, greatly reducing the twin-headed snake's attributes. However, Shifeng was not finished. He continued slashing the crimson blade, piercing the twin-headed snake's vital points and causing another -112 damage. By the time the twin-headed snake started reacting, its HP had already been reduced by half. When one of the snake heads bit at Shifeng, he dodged to a side, and his foot stomped on the ground, pushing him forward. His actions caught the other snake head by surprise, rendering it unable to attack or defend. Double chop. The abyssal blade and crimson blade pierced deeply into the twin-headed snake's abdomen. Shifeng then abruptly pulled on them, slashing apart the twin-headed snake's body and leaving 2 long gashes. 2 damages appeared above the twin-headed snake's head, -156 and -132. In addition, the snake also received a bleeding debuff. The twin-headed snake still wished to retaliate. However, before it could reach Shifeng, it bled itself to death. System, level 10 twin-headed snake killed. Level difference of 5. EXP obtained increased by 500%. Obtained 1000 EXP. The twin-headed snake contributed a snake gall to Shifeng. Shifeng did not use many skills throughout the entire killing process, mainly only using normal attacks. He easily took care of a level 10 monster. However, Shifeng was still not satisfied. It was especially true for his first piercing attack. The twin-headed snake actually blocked the attack. Otherwise, he would have been able to kill the twin-headed snake with a series of continuous strikes. Shifeng then started searching for his next target. After an hour, Shifeng had killed over 40 twin-headed snakes. His experience rose to 81% of level 5. His leveling speed was like a rocket, and his experience gain was even faster than that of forging equipment. Shifeng couldn't help but have mixed feelings about it. With the entire Silvermoon set equipment in addition to 2 top-tier weapons, killing monsters that were of higher levels became extremely easy. If the situation continued as such, Shifeng would reach level 6 in less than an hour. I'm still missing 3 snake galls and 5 venomous fangs. However, all the twin-headed snakes in this area are already dead. It might take a while for new monsters to respawn. Shifeng observed his surroundings. There was actually not a single twin-headed snake present. Shifeng had no choice but to run to another spot to grind twin-headed snakes. However, just after taking a few steps, 3 twin-headed snakes slithered out from the oasis. Amongst the 3, one of them had larger heads than the other 2, and there was also a horn on each of its heads. This was a snake king patrolling its territory. A rare elite, is it? Shifeng licked his lips when he saw the twin-headed snake king, his lips revealing a faint smile. A rare elite was not something that a person could often meet. It would appear randomly, and its strength was slightly more than normal elite monsters. Its drop rate was also extremely good. Being able to meet one depended all on luck. Chapter 82, Killing the Twin-Headed Snake King. The Twin-Headed Snake King, along with its 2 subordinates, slowly slithered toward Shifeng. However, it did not discover Shifeng's existence. Its tail calmly swayed, and its head proudly raised as it overlooked its own territory. Meanwhile, the 2 normal twin-headed snakes were closely following the Snake King. They did not act proudly like the Snake King, but more like bodyguards, their chilling gazes sweeping across their surroundings. As long as there were any signs of activity, they would immediately become their king's sharp swords, killing all enemies that were harmful to their king. From when the twin-headed Snake King approached his location to when it turned around and left, Shifeng only watched it, silently. However, Shifeng was in no hurry to make a move. Instead, he stealthily followed it, using observing eyes on it, and waiting for the best terrain to start his attack. Twin-headed Snake King, Rare Elite. Level 10. HP 4000/4000. The other 2 twin-headed snake guards were both common monsters. They were both level 10, and they both had 1400 HP. Shifeng was about to face 3 level 10 monsters together. Moreover, there was even a rare elite amongst them. Even though Shifeng equipped with the full Silvermoon set equipment, he still needed to plan properly before taking action. After all, the few can't fight the many. Also, the snake race had extremely quick movement speeds and the Snake King even more so. Shifeng followed the twin-headed Snake King to an area filled with sandstone. There were several stones taller than a person here that could be used to obstruct the twin-headed Snake King's vision, so Shifeng finally started taking action. Shifeng would be at a big disadvantage if he were to take on all 3 twin-headed snakes at the same time. So, he needed to split them up and kill them one at a time, with the common monsters taking priority. Shifeng immediately used Phantom Kill, letting his doppelganger stay behind waiting while he took charge. Shifeng used Wind Blade, his sword stabbing at the nearest twin-headed snake guard. With the ambush and the speed increase from Wind Blade, the twin-headed snake was not able to react to the attack at all. Shi Feng's two swords immediately stabbed it in the backs, causing damages of -76 and -61. Following which, Shi Feng used double chop, causing -103 and -89 damage, and leaving the twin-headed snake guard with a bleeding effect. Shi Feng was fully equipped with top-tier equipment and high-leveled skills. Even if the twin-headed snake guard had a high defense, the damage Shi Feng could cause was extremely high. If it were a level 5 average player attacking the twin-headed snake guard, with the level suppression and the monster's high defense, they would at most cause -3 or -4 damage to it. The twin-headed snake guard wailed in pain. It immediately spun its heads around, attacking Shi Feng. The other twin-headed snake guard also came over, biting at Shi Feng. Shi Feng now received attacks from two sides at the same time. Shi Feng slightly smiled at this. He used Thundering Flash, sending 3 streaks of thunder at one of the twin-headed snake guards. However, the twin-headed snake guard reacted extremely quickly, one of its heads blocked, while the other bit at Shi Feng. The 3 streaks of thunder were blocked, causing an insignificant amount of damage. Just as the snake's venomous fangs were about to bite down, Shi Feng used parry and activated Windwalk. After blocking an attack, Shi Feng immediately turned around and ran. The twin-headed snake guards would naturally not let go of an enemy who angered them. Slithering at high speeds, they chased after Shi Feng. As for the unharmed twin-headed Snake King, one could see boiling rage in its chilling eyes. It, too, slithered and chased after Shi Feng. However, just after the twin-headed Snake King moved several yards, Shi Feng's doppelganger used Windblade and rushed at the twin-headed Snake King. The doppelganger slashed at the twin-headed Snake King's neck, causing -24 damage. The twin-headed Snake King was enraged by this attack. With the speed of a thunderbolt, the twin-headed Snake King bit at the doppelganger. As the doppelganger's goal had been achieved, it, too, activated Windwalk, turning around and leaving. Now, the twin-headed snake guards were separated from the Snake King. Although the two twin-headed snake guards were tough, without the support of their king, they were unable to stand against Shi Feng's fierce attacks. One move after another, Shi Feng's blades would always strike at the vital points of the twin-headed snake guards. After all, the Silvermoon set equipment was not just for show. Right now, Shi Feng's agility exceeded 60 points. Even if the twin-headed snake guards could defend against one of Shi Feng's attacks in time, they would still be struck by his other sword. Every sword that landed would take away 60 to 70 HP, while the occasional critical hit would cause over -150 damage. Shi Feng's sword strikes were like a fierce gale passing by. The sword strikes constantly landed on the two twin-headed snake guards, causing their HP to fall madly. Within a few moments, the two twin-headed snake guards breathed their last breaths. After looting the drops, Shi Feng rushed at the twin-headed Snake King. Currently, the doppelganger's HP had fallen below 30%. It was exhausting itself trying to pin down the twin-headed Snake King. The rare elite's attacks were extremely quick. It would, from time to time, spit out a poisonous fog, enveloping a large area with it. The doppelganger only possessed 50% of the original body's attributes, so it could only constantly defend and escape. Otherwise, it would have long since dropped dead. However, now that the original body had arrived, the doppelganger did not need to pin down the twin-headed Snake King any longer. Shi Feng immediately used 9 Dragon Slash, shooting out 9 phantoms of the Abyssal Blade. Shi Feng then used Defensive Blade, his attack range greatly increasing. He could only attack from afar when facing the twin-headed Snake King, who was capable of spewing out poisonous fog. If he were to enter a melee with the twin-headed Snake King, he would not last 20 seconds. Even if he were to activate all of his life-saving skills, he still would not survive. The twin-headed Snake King was very cunning. When facing Shi Feng, one of its heads defended against Shi Feng's attacks while its other head constantly attacked his doppelganger, paying no attention to Shi Feng himself. After 3 to 4 hits, the doppelganger could no longer take it, vanishing. Meanwhile, the twin-headed Snake King's HP was still over 70%. Its other head now turned to stare at Shifeng. It opened its mouth, spitting out a mouthful of poison. The poison was like an arrow as it shot toward Shifeng. Shifeng's expression suddenly sank. His body dodged sideways, avoiding the poison. When the poisonous fluid struck a sandstone, the fluid immediately passed through, leaving behind a large hole. This was the twin-headed Snake King's corroding acid. If one were to block it, though a secret silver weapon might still be fine, a common weapon would immediately melt. As for a bronze weapon, its durability would, at least, be reduced by half, and taking 2 hits from the corroding acid would turn it into scrap. In such a way, one man and one snake started maintaining their distance between each other, attacking and dodging. Shifeng madly slashed his swords, streak after streak of sword light filling up the area. Meanwhile, the twin-headed Snake King's 2 heads spat out poison without halt, leaving behind countless holes. From time to time, it would also fill a large area with a poisonous fog, leaving not even a blade of grass alive. From time to time, Shifeng would be poisoned during battle. After over 10 minutes of constant battle, even though Shifeng was constantly drinking basic regeneration potions as soon as the cooldown was finished, his remaining HP was only at 8%. Meanwhile, the twin-headed Snake King still had 14% of its HP remaining. Seeing as both their HPs were low, the twin-headed Snake King revealed a sinister look. Its size faintly increased by a fold, then, suddenly, it leaped into the air. One of its heads widely opened its mouth, revealing its snow-white poisonous fangs, while its other head spewed out poisonous fog. The twin-headed Snake King used an attack pattern that contained both attack and defense, and as long as Shifeng closed in on it, he would be trapped in the harmful fog. Going all out now? Currently, Shifeng could withstand the poisonous fog for 3 seconds at best, or take 1 strike from the Snake King itself. Hence, Shifeng took out a bottle of basic regeneration potion from his bag, gulping it down and recovering 180 HP. In his other hand, Shifeng took out a polymorph scroll. Just as the twin-headed Snake King was about to land, it was immediately turned into a sheep. Thundering flash. Chop. Double chop. Earth splitter. After a series of attacks, the twin-headed Snake King only had 5% of its HP remaining. However, it had transformed back into its original form, while its surroundings were filled with poisonous fog. The twin-headed Snake King's recovery speed increased by a fold while inside the fog, while its enemies would madly lose their HP. Shifeng immediately retreated, using Abyssal Bind on the twin-headed Snake King. Shifeng then took out the Tier 1 magic scroll, Continuous Flame Bombs, and started chanting. 5 large fireballs smashed onto the twin-headed Snake King's body, taking away the last of its HP. The twin-headed Snake King dropped 4 items as it died. System: Twin-headed Snake King killed. Level difference of 5. EXP obtained increased by 500%. Obtained 5000 EXP. Shifeng finally loosened his breath. As expected, a level 10 rare elite was extremely hard to deal with. If he did not possess the Silvermoon set equipment and the Tier 1 magic scroll, he would have been the one to die in this battle. Fortunately, Shifeng killed it. Amongst the 4 items dropped, there was the level 8 mysterious iron staff, Song of Life, meant for clerics. Its overall attributes were quite good, and it also increased the levels of recovery skills by +1. It was absolutely a top-tier staff. The next item was a level 10 bronze cross shield with average attributes. However, shields were considered rare items, so it was already pretty good that one dropped. The final 2 items were the Snake King's Gall and the Snake King's Skin. Both were rare materials in making poison and leather armor. The quest items had already been collected, so after some rest, Shifeng returned to turn in the quests. He obtained the rare forging materials, and his experience increased to 91% of level 5, just a little more before reaching level 6. Looking at the time, it was not long before the arranged meeting time. So, Shifeng started heading towards the level 8 area, Phissus Canyon. Chapter 83, Second Meeting. Phissis Canyon, a paradise on Earth, it was a place filled with lush green vegetation. Multiple streams of water flowed through the canyon, while flocks of birds flew in the sky above. The forest, as well, was filled with the sounds of hundreds of birds squabbling with each other. Although this place was beautiful, right now, there was not a single player that came here to level up. After all, the highest leveled player right now was just level 6. Normally, they would be safely leveling up in level 6 or level 7 areas. Phissis Canyon was a level 8 monster area, and level 9 monsters could even be found in the inner areas. For a short period, there wouldn't be any players coming to disturb this place. More importantly, Shifeng was here for the unique quest, Steel Fortress Barrutia. This quest was extremely important for him to establish his future guild. In Shifeng's previous life, the player who completed this unique quest, just by relying on the quest rewards alone, increased a second-rate guild standing to first-rate. However, now that Shifeng had received this unique quest, he would use it to benefit the guild he would establish. After entering the canyon, Shifeng used the demon's mask to alter his own appearance. He transformed the silvery white Silvermoon set equipment into a suit of shining pitch black set equipment. It could be called the Black Moon set equipment. Shifeng also altered his face into one of an older gentleman, his age around 26 to 27. He then donned a black cloak, his face hidden within the cloak. At first glance, his appearance exuded a strong sense of mystery, allowing others to think he was a man with a story. Shifeng's get-up was somewhat similar to the Night Ranger, only he had 2 longswords hanging on his back rather than a simple black bow. Moreover, Shifeng was not of the Night Elf race. Now that Shifeng had disguised himself, nobody would be able to recognize who he was. Even with Gentle Snow's discerning eyes, it was impossible for her to recognize him. Arriving at the meeting location, Shifeng discovered Gentle Snow and her group had yet to arrive. Shifeng called out the system notifications, taking a look at the sales condition of the forging designs this time around. Sold out already? Shifeng looked at the series of notifications, his eyes almost shining. There were over 10 notifications from the auction house, and every one of them notified him that he had an increase of around 3 gold coins. Shifeng auctioned a total of 20 pieces of forging designs, yet, they were sold at an average price of 3 gold coins. One could just imagine how desperate these guilds were. However, compared to the price of 3 gold coins, these guilds that bought the forging designs could also, very quickly, earn that money back. God's Domain had only officially started 3 days ago. Along with the increase in time, there would be more and more people joining God's Domain. The number of new players might even exceed that of the old players. These new players were the main consumers, and the supply level 3 glimmer chest plates would be unable to meet the demand. In a short period, the value of the glimmer chest plate would not depreciate, and instead, its value might even increase. However, Shifeng's goal had already been met, so he no longer planned to make more glimmer chest plate forging designs to earn money. Right now, his bag was holding over 50 gold coins. These coins were the entirety of the fluid funds of more than 10 large guilds. If Shifeng were to use all of it to operate a guild, how formidable would this be? Unfortunately, money was not the only thing needed to operate a guild. Shifeng took out 20 gold coins and registered them on the virtual trade center. After all, he couldn't just keep all those gold coins on hand. If he did that, he would be throwing money away. Based on the selling price right now, these 20 gold coins were worth 180,000 credits. Shifeng did not imagine things would go so smoothly. He earned so many credits in just 3 short days. However, if he wanted to start a good workshop, such a small amount of money was still insufficient. To start up Shadow Workshop, Lon Hailong invested 5 million credits from the start. In the following month, he even invested over 10 million credits. One could just imagine how much money it took to start up a workshop, not to mention a guild with thousands or tens of thousands of members. However, after the workshop and guild were established, things would be greatly different. To a guild, hundreds of thousands of credits was nothing. Shifeng still needed to earn a lot of money. Hence why Shifeng had chosen to work with Gentle Snow secretly. "Are you Black Flame?" A voice as crisp as a jade falling to the ground came from behind Shifeng. Shifeng turned around, discovering Gentle Snow's beautiful figure walking over while sizing him up. Although it was their second time meeting, he was still unaccustomed to Gentle Snow's attentive gaze. In a slightly deep tone, Shifeng said, "Correct. I am." Hearing Shifeng's answer, moreover receiving the information proving Black Flame's identity, Gentle Snow's beautiful eyes focused. She secretly used an observation skill. Suddenly, Gentle Snow stared blankly. She was unable to discern Shifeng's name. The information only showed him as an unknown level 5. Gentle Snow originally thought that Black Flame only had good forging skills, many lucky encounters, superior strategies, and relatively good gaming skills. She never imagined that Black Flame's gaming skills were not just the average kind of good. He was definitely a top-tier expert. Otherwise, he would not be able to obtain such a high-grade item. Special items that could hide a person's identity, even Ouroboros did not possess a single one of such an item. They had also never heard of any other first-rate guilds obtaining one. Meanwhile, not only did the mysterious man in front of her possess such an item, but Gentle Snow could also feel a powerful strength emanating from the equipment he was wearing. Even though the equipment's special effects were hidden, a single glance at the equipment's delicate make and the magical markings circling it told Gentle Snow that it was a set. In fact, Black Flame's equipment might not be any worse than hers. Her equipment was obtained through the efforts of the elite party behind her. How much time had they spent obtaining them? How did the man in front of her obtain such good equipment? Gentle Snow attentively gazed at Shifeng. She was even starting to suspect whether or not Black Flame was a player or the leader of a mysterious organization. Otherwise, how would he possess such financial and physical resources to carry out all those tasks? His title of Chief Forger was even publicly acknowledged by the players of Star Moon Kingdom. Just carrying out tasks such as forging and organizing would take up most of his time, so how was it possible he obtained such a good set of equipment? "Hello, I am called Gentle Snow, first vice leader of Ouroboros." Gentle Snow stretched out her jade-white hand in a very formal manner. It was different from the casual meeting when Shifeng first met her, where she regarded Shifeng with a superior attitude. The party members behind Gentle Snow were all shocked. They never imagined their leader would actually take the initiative to shake hands with someone else. Was this older gentleman in front of them that powerful to necessitate such formality? Zhao Yueru, who stood behind Gentle Snow, was constantly sizing up Shifeng with her beautiful eyes. Prior to this meeting, Shifeng's series of performances had caused her to become very interested in him. Now that she was meeting him in person, she discovered that Shifeng's entire body was exuding a mature and calm feeling, causing others to pay attention to him inadvertently. Now that even Gentle Snow had given her approval, Zhao Yueru had a faintly better impression of him. "Hello, you can address me as Black Flame." Not wanting to act too aloof, Shifeng shook hands with Gentle Snow. He discovered that her hand was very soft and smooth as expected. If Blackie were to know of this incident, he would most likely shake Shifeng's hands, then not wash them for 3 days. The reason why Shifeng did not completely alter the Silvermoon set equipment's appearance was to awe and intimidate them. Seeing the satisfying results, Shifeng got right to the point and said, "I have contacted you this time to cooperate with your Ouroboros. I wonder what your opinion of this is? Of course, we welcome it very much. If you are willing to become the chief forger of our Ouroboros, just state your price," Gentle Snow said with confidence. She guessed that Shifeng would demand an exorbitant price. However, as long as they could successfully poach Shifeng, then everything would be worth it. Moreover, with her current influence, satisfying Shifeng's appetite was no problem at all. "Miss Snow, I think you are misunderstanding something here. I will not be joining your guild. Instead, I will be using an equal status to cooperate with your guild. If Miss Snow is unable to make this problem clear, we do not need to continue this discussion." Finished speaking, Shifeng turned to leave. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.